At our family Thanksgiving dinner, my sister-in-law Madison's wine glass catches the candlelight as she leans forward with a cruel smile. "Your parents only love you when you're paying their bills," she announces to the silent table. My mother's laughter cuts through the tension like broken glass. "You're not welcome unless you clear your brother's credit card debt," she adds, patting Madison's manicured hand. 20 pairs of eyes turn to me. I stand slowly, my chair scraping against hardwood, and smile. You're right. The dining room erupts into chaos after my words, but I remain standing, my hands steady on the mahogany table that once belonged to my grandmother. My name is Lena, 32 years old, and for 5 long years, I've carried a secret that's been slowly crushing me from the inside out. What do you mean you're right? My cousin Janet speaks first, her voice barely above a whisper. She clutches her pearl necklace, the same nervous gesture she's had since we were children playing in my parents' backyard. I look around the room at the faces I've known my entire life. My father sits at the head of the table, his gray beard neatly trimmed, avoiding my gaze by studying the turkey carcass before him. My mother Dorothy still has that satisfied smirk playing at the corners of her mouth, her freshly dyed auburn hair catching the light from the chandelier above. I mean exactly what I said. I reply, my voice carrying a calmness I don't feel. They're absolutely correct. Mom and Dad's love has been directly proportional to my bank transfers for the past 5 years. Tyler, my older brother, shifts uncomfortably in his seat. At 35, he still has that boyish charm that's gotten him out of trouble our entire lives. His blue eyes, so similar to mine, dart between Madison and our parents. Madison herself looks triumphant, her professionally whitened teeth gleaming as she takes another sip of her Pinot Noir. "Lena, sweetheart." My mother begins her tone, switching to the false sweetness she reserves for public manipulation. "You're being dramatic. We've never asked you for anything you couldn't afford." I reach into my purse, pulling out my phone with deliberate slowness. $3,000 a month for 60 months. That's $180,000, not counting the emergency requests. Should I show everyone the bank transfers? My Aunt Patricia gasps from across the table. Uncle Robert nearly chokes on his stuffing. The younger cousins stop their conversations to stare at the unfolding drama. "You make good money at that consulting firm." My father finally speaks, his voice gruff with irritation. "Family helps family. That's how we raised you." "Interesting philosophy, Dad," I respond, scrolling through my phone, especially considering Tyler here makes $30,000 more than I do annually as a software engineer at Morrison Tech. Yet somehow his contribution to your monthly expenses has been exactly $0.00. Madison's perfectly sculpted eyebrows rise in practiced surprise. "Tyler and I have our own expenses. We're saving for Benjamin's college fund." She gestures to their 4-year-old son, who's blissfully unaware of the tension playing with his mashed potatoes. "Of course you are," I say, noting the designer watch on her wrist that costs more than 3 months of my parents' mortgage. "And that new BMW X5 in the driveway, also for Benjamin's education." The room falls silent again, but this time it's different. I can feel the shift in energy as family members start to piece together a puzzle they didn't know existed. My phone buzzes with a text, but I ignore it, maintaining eye contact with my mother. "You ungrateful child," she hisses, dropping all pretense of sweetness. "After everything we've done for you." "Everything you've done?" I laugh, but there's no humor in it. "You mean like telling me Dad's business failed when I was 27? Like convincing me that you'd lose the house without my help? Like guilting me every single month about being a good daughter while Tyler lived his best life?" My cousin Marcus, who works in banking, leans forward. "Wait, Lena, are you saying you've been paying their entire mortgage? Mortgage, utilities, insurance, medical bills, groceries, and let's not forget Mom's monthly shopping allowance." I list off on my fingers. All while being told they're on the verge of bankruptcy. Tyler finally finds his voice. "Lena, you're making it sound like some conspiracy. Mom and Dad needed help. You could afford it." "Could I challenge him. Do you know I've been living in the same one-bedroom apartment for 5 years because I can't save for a house down payment? Do you know I drive a 12-year-old Honda while funding Mom's lease on her Lexus? Madison interjects with her practice therapist voice, though she's actually a lifestyle blogger. Lena, it sounds like you have some resentment issues we should address privately. This isn't the time or place. Oh, but it is. I counter, feeling years of suppressed anger rising to the surface. You see, Madison, when you publicly announce that my parents only love me for my money, you make it exactly the right time and place. My teenage cousin Sophia, always glued to her phone, suddenly speaks up. Aunt Dorothy, is this why you told my mom that Lena was too selfish to have children? Because she said she couldn't afford them. My mother's face flushes red. That's taken out of context. What context? Sophia's mother, my Aunt Linda, demands. You told me Lena was choosing career over family. Meanwhile, she's been supporting your entire household. The facade begins to crumble. I watch as my father's shoulders slump as my mother's perfectly composed expression starts to crack. Tyler loosens his tie, a nervous habit from childhood. There's more, I announce, and the room somehow grows even quieter. Last month I had coffee with David Chen from Dad's old company. My father's head snaps up, his eyes wide with alarm. Imagine my surprise. I continue, when he told me that Dad didn't just close the business. He was bought out 5 years ago for $250,000. Gasps echo around the table. Forks clatter onto plates. My grandmother's china, passed down through generations, seems to rattle with the shockwaves of revelation. He mentioned how happy he was that Dad had such a nice retirement package. I add, watching the color drain from my father's face. Funny how that retirement package never came up when you were crying about losing everything. You had no right to dig into our finances. My father growls, but his voice lacks conviction. Our finances, I repeat. No, Dad, your finances that I've been funding while you had $250,000 sitting somewhere. My phone buzzes again, more insistently. This time I glance at it. It's from Emma Tyler and Madison's teenage daughter from Madison's first marriage, who's spending Thanksgiving with her biological father. The preview of her message makes my blood run cold. Aunt Lena, you need to see what I just found out about Dad and Grandma. I need some air, I announce, standing up from the table. Enjoy the rest of your meal, the one I paid for, by the way. The catering bill is in my email if anyone wants to verify. As I walk toward the front door, my Aunt Patricia calls out, Lena, wait, are you okay? I pause at the doorway, looking back at the destruction of what was supposed to be a peaceful family gathering. I will be Aunt Pat. For the first time in 5 years, I think I will be. The last thing I see before stepping into the cool November evening is Tyler reaching for his wine glass with shaking hands while Madison furiously types on her phone. My mother has begun to cry, but I know those tears too well. They're not from remorse or shame. They're the tears of someone who's been caught. As I reach my car, I finally open Emma's text fully. What I read there makes me lean against the hood for support. My knees feel weak, but my resolve has never been stronger. The truth, it seems, is even worse than I imagined. And this Thanksgiving dinner revelation, it's only the beginning. The drive home from my parents' house takes 45 minutes, but tonight it feels like hours. My phone sits in the passenger seat, lighting up constantly with calls and texts I'm not ready to face. Emma's message burns in my mind. Aunt Lena, you need to see what I just found out about Dad and Grandma. They've been taking money you send and giving it to him. I have screenshots. I pull into my apartment complex just after 9 o'clock. The parking lot is mostly empty, everyone still with their families sharing pie and gratitude. The irony isn't lost on me. I've just blown up Thanksgiving dinner with the truth, and now I'm returning to my modest one-bedroom apartment while my brother lives in a 4,000 square foot house in Westfield Estates. Inside, I kick off my heels and pour myself a glass of water. My hands are still shaking. The adrenaline from confrontation is wearing off, leaving behind a hollow feeling in my chest. I finally pick up my phone to face the aftermath. 47 missed calls, 83 text messages. The family group chat has exploded. I scroll through categorizing the responses. Aunt Patricia. Honey, please call me. I had no idea this was happening. Uncle Robert, your mother is hysterical. Someone should check on her. Cousin Janet. I can't believe they did this to you. I'm so sorry. Cousin Marcus. As a financial advisor, I'm horrified. This is fraud, Lena. But the ones that sting most come from the family members taking my parents' side. Aunt Susan. Family doesn't air dirty laundry in public. You should be ashamed. Cousin Derek. Way to ruin Thanksgiving for everyone. Drama queen much. Uncle Thomas. Your parents raised you. This is how you repay them. I'm about to put the phone down when Emma's name appears with a call. She's only 16, but she's always been mature for her age. I answer on the second ring. Aunt Lena. Her voice is barely above a whisper. I'm so sorry about what happened. Are you okay? I'm processing, I answer honestly. Where are you calling from? Dad's bathroom. He and Stacy are watching football. I told them I wasn't feeling well. She pauses. Did you see what I sent? I saw your preview message. Something about screenshots. It's worse than just that, Emma says, and I can hear her taking a deep breath. Remember how I helped Grandma set up her new tablet last month? Well, she forgot to log out of her email. I wasn't snooping, I swear, but a notification popped up while I was using it for homework. My stomach tightens. What kind of notification? A bank transfer confirmation from her account to Dad's, $500. So I got curious and looked at the sent folder. Her voice drops even lower. Aunt Lena, they've been transferring half of what you send them to Dad every single month for years. The room spins slightly. I sit down heavily on my secondhand couch. Are you sure? I took pictures of everything before she noticed the tablet was missing. I'll send them now, but... She hesitates. There's something else. Dad has a serious gambling problem. Mom doesn't know how bad it is. The screenshots start coming through. Each one is like a punch to the gut. Transfer after transfer, month after month. The memo lines are damning. For Tyler, monthly support. Tyler's assistance, helping our son. How do you know about the gambling? I ask, trying to keep my voice steady. I overheard him on the phone with someone named Sal. He owes a lot of money, Aunt Lena, like scary amount of money. That's why he was so quiet at dinner when you brought up finances. He's desperate. Another wave of texts interrupts our conversation. This time it's from my parents. Mom, you need to send December's payment early. We have Christmas expenses. Dad, your behavior tonight was unacceptable, but we're willing to forgive you if you apologize. Mom, the mortgage company called. Payment is due Monday. The audacity takes my breath away. After everything revealed tonight, they're still demanding money. Emma must hear my sharp intake of breath. They're asking for more money, aren't they? She says quietly. How did you know? Because Dad asked me if I had any birthday money saved. He's never done that before. She pauses. Aunt Lena, I'm scared for him, but I'm also angry. What they've done to you isn't right. Emma, listen to me, I say firmly. None of this is your fault or your responsibility. You're being incredibly brave by telling me. I have more evidence, she continues. Screenshots of Dad's betting apps, his credit card statements, he left on his desk emails about defaulted loans. I documented everything because I knew someday someone would need to know the truth. My phone buzzes with another call. It's my mother. I decline it. You're an amazing young woman, I tell Emma. Can you send me everything I need to figure out what to do next? Already uploading to a secure folder. Aunt Lena. Her voice becomes very small. What's going to happen to our family? It's the question I've been avoiding. I don't know, sweetheart, but whatever happens, you'll always have me. That's a promise. After we hang up, I spend the next 2 hours reviewing Emma's evidence. It's comprehensive and damning. Tyler's gambling debt exceeds $200,000. He's taken out loans in Madison's name without her knowledge. He's maxed out credit cards, emptied his children's college funds, and even sold Madison's grandmother's jewelry, replacing it with fakes. My laptop dings with an email notification. It's from my apartment complex. My lease renewal has been denied due to recent negative credit inquiries. My blood runs cold. I haven't applied for any credit recently. I log into my credit monitoring service, something I've neglected lately because I've been so focused on sending money to my parents. What I see makes me stagger to the bathroom, where I lose what little Thanksgiving dinner I managed to eat. 7 new credit cards opened in my name over the past 6 months, 3 personal loans, a car lease for a vehicle I've never seen, and the worst, a mortgage application for a property I don't recognize with my signature forged as a co-signer. The TV in my living room suddenly seems too loud, even though it's on mute. The walls feel like they're closing in. My safe small apartment no longer feels like a refuge. It feels like a trap. My phone rings again. This time it's a number I don't recognize. Against my better judgment, I answer. Ms. Lena Morrison. The voice is professional, concerned. This is Thomas Bradley from First National Bank's fraud department. We've detected some unusual activity on accounts connected to your Social Security number. Are you available to discuss this matter? Yes, I whisper, sinking back onto the couch. I think I've just discovered it myself. I'm sorry to hear that, ma'am. Can you come to our main branch tomorrow morning? Given the holiday weekend, I'm making special arrangements to meet with you. This appears to be a serious case of identity theft. We arranged to meet at 8 in the morning. After hanging up, I sit in the darkness of my apartment, not bothering to turn on the lights. The city lights twinkle through my window, other people living their lives unaware that mine is crumbling. Another text from Emma appears. Aunt Lena, I forgot to mention. I saw Grandma at the bank with Dad last Tuesday. They had a lot of papers. The bank lady looked uncomfortable. I think they were trying to get another loan. The pieces start falling into place. The sudden increase in my parents' financial needs, their insistence on early payments, Tyler's desperation at dinner. They're all connected, and I'm the common denominator. The family ATM they've been draining dry while planning to empty completely. I finally turn on a lamp and grab a notebook. If they want to play this game, I need to be prepared. I start documenting everything, every payment, every guilt trip, every lie. 4 hours later, as November 24th becomes November 25th, I have 23 pages of notes and a folder full of bank statements. The last text of the night comes from Madison. You've upset everyone with your theatrics. I hope you're satisfied. Tyler is having a panic attack. As a family, we should support each other, not tear each other down. Your jealousy of our success is showing. I almost laugh at the irony. Success built on my stolen identity and financial sacrifice. Success funded by fraud and gambling debt. Success that's about to come crashing down. Tomorrow I'll go to the bank. Tomorrow I'll start the process of reclaiming my life. But tonight, in the quiet of my small apartment, I allow myself to feel the full weight of the betrayal. My family hasn't just taken my money. They've stolen my future, my credit, my ability to trust. And somewhere across town, my brother is having a panic attack, not because he hurt me, but because his con game is over. The house of cards is falling, and this time I won't be the one paying to rebuild it. The First National Bank building stands like a glass and steel monument to financial security in downtown Indianapolis. I arrive at 7:45, 15 minutes early for my meeting with Thomas Bradley. My hands shake as I grip the folder containing my documentation. I've had 3 hours of sleep sustained only by coffee and the burning need for answers. Thomas Bradley isn't what I expected from a fraud investigator. He's younger, maybe early 40s, with kind brown eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. His handshake is firm but gentle as he leads me to a private office. Ms. Morrison, I appreciate you coming in so quickly. He begins settling behind his desk. I've pulled some preliminary reports. What I'm seeing is concerning. How bad is it? I ask, though part of me doesn't want to know. He turns his computer monitor toward me. 7 credit cards totaling $95,000 in available credit, $62,000 already spent. 3 personal loans totaling $45,000. A car lease for a 2024 Mercedes-Benz GLE. Each line item feels like another nail in a coffin I didn't know was being built. I didn't apply for any of these. I believe you, Thomas says, pulling out additional paperwork. The applications all originated from IP addresses in this area, but the spending patterns don't match your historical behavior. Multiple luxury purchases, cash advances, gambling websites. Gambling websites. My throat feels dry. Significant amounts. Someone's been using these cards at online casinos, sports betting platforms, and poker sites. He pauses, studying my face. Ms. Morrison, do you have any idea who might have access to your personal information? My family. I whisper then stronger. My parents and brother. I've been supporting them financially for years. His expression shifts from professional concern to something deeper. I see. And this mortgage application... He slides a paper across the desk. It's for a property at 4721 Maple Grove Lane. The purchase price is $450,000. My signature is at the bottom, but it's not my handwriting. It's close practiced, but not mine. I've never seen this address, I say, photographing it with my phone. I live in a 1-bedroom apartment on the east side. The application was submitted in person at our Westfield branch. We have security footage. He clicks through files on his computer. Tuesday, November 19th, 2:47 p.m. The screen fills with grainy security footage. My mother enters the frame first, wearing her favorite purple coat. Behind her is Tyler, carrying a manila folder. They approach a desk where a young loan officer waits. The timestamp matches Emma's message about seeing them at the bank. That's my mother and brother. I confirm, my voice surprisingly steady. Can you zoom in on what they're carrying? Thomas enhances the image. In Tyler's folder, I can make out what looks like bank statements, tax returns, and other financial documents. My mother is holding what appears to be a driver's license. Is this you? He freezes the frame where my mother hands over the ID. I lean closer. It's my driver's license photo, but something's off. That's my picture, but I renewed my license 6 months ago. This is the old one that I thought I'd lost. They've been planning this for a while, Thomas says gently. This level of identity theft, especially within families, is more common than you'd think, but the scale here is unusual. What about the mortgage? Did it go through? He shakes his head. The loan officer had concerns. The documentation seemed off and your mother appeared nervous. He flagged it for review, which triggered our fraud alert system. That's why I called you yesterday. Relief floods through me, but it's short-lived. So they tried to take out a $450,000 loan in my name. Attempted, yes. We've frozen all accounts associated with your social security number as of this morning. He pulls out more forms. We'll need to file a police report and begin the process of disputing all fraudulent accounts. Police. The word makes it real in a way nothing else has. They're my family. Who committed federal crimes. Thomas says firmly, but not unkindly. Identity theft, fraud, forgery. These are serious offenses, Ms. Morrison, and from what I'm seeing, this won't be their last attempt if we don't act now. I think of Emma's scared voice on the phone, of my mother's tears that were only for being caught, of Tyler's panic attack, born from consequences rather than conscience. What do I need to do? I ask. For the next 3 hours, we methodically work through each fraudulent account. Thomas helps me file disputes, freeze my credit with all major bureaus, and create a fraud alert. He produces a USB drive with all the security footage and documentation. This is evidence, he explains. The police will need it. As we work, more disturbing patterns emerge. The gambling charges align with major sports events. The luxury purchases include jewelry, electronics, and designer clothing, all shipped to addresses I don't recognize. Cash advances total $38,000 taken out in increments just below federal reporting requirements. Someone knew what they were doing. Thomas observes. The cash advances especially. They stayed just under 10,000 each time to avoid triggering automatic reports. My brother works in tech, I say. He'd know about financial systems. Thomas makes a note. Ms. Morrison, I need to show you something else. It might be upsetting. He pulls up another set of security footage. This time, it's from an ATM. The timestamp shows 3 a.m. on various dates. In each one, Tyler is withdrawing the maximum daily amount from cards in my name. He looks desperate, I observe. Tyler's face is haggard, his usual polished appearance replaced by stubble and wrinkled clothes. Gambling addiction often presents this way, Thomas says. The late-night withdrawals, the maximum amounts, the frequency increasing over time. Has he shown signs of this behavior before? Not that I knew, but apparently there's a lot I didn't know about my family. My phone buzzes. It's a text from my boss, Sandra. Lena, your parents called HR yesterday claiming you're having mental health issues. We need to talk Monday. I don't believe them, but formal complaint filed. I show Thomas the message. His jaw tightens. They're trying to discredit you. Classic behavior when financial abuse is exposed. Document everything. They called my workplace. Anger replaces the shock that's been my primary emotion. They're trying to get me fired. It's about control, Thomas explains. If you lose your job, you become dependent. If you're dependent, you can't fight back. We see this pattern in financial abuse cases. The word abuse sits heavy in the air. I've been thinking of this as theft, as betrayal, but abuse. The systematic nature of it, the psychological manipulation, the attempts to isolate me from support systems. He's right. Ms. Morrison. Thomas continues, I recommend you speak with our legal partner, Sarah Winters. She specializes in cases like this, family financial fraud with identity theft components. He hands me a business card. Sarah Winters, attorney at law, specializing in financial crimes and family law. Is it really that serious? I ask, though I already know the answer. Your credit score has dropped 200 points. You have almost 200,000 in fraudulent debt. Your family attempted to add another 450,000. Your employer has been contacted with false claims about your mental stability. He lets each point sink in. Yes, it's that serious. I stand to leave my legs unsteady. The folder of evidence weighs heavy in my hands. Thank you, Mr. Bradley. You've been incredibly helpful. Lena, he says, dropping the formality. I see cases like this more often than I'd like. The family aspect makes it harder but not less criminal. You're doing the right thing. Outside the bank, the November air hits me like a wall. Downtown Indianapolis is busy with Black Friday shoppers, people hunting for deals, while I'm hunting for pieces of my shattered life. I sit in my car for a moment, processing everything. My phone rings. It's a number I don't recognize, but I answer anyway. Is this Lena Morrison? The voice is female professional. Yes. This is Detective Sharon Martinez with the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department Financial Crimes Unit. I just received a report from First National Bank regarding extensive identity theft. Could you come to the station today? I'll be there in an hour. I reply, surprised by the steadiness in my voice. Excellent. And Ms. Morrison, bring any documentation you have. Bank statements, communications with family members, anything relevant. After hanging up, I check my messages. The family group chat has devolved into chaos. Aunt Patricia, has anyone heard from Lena? I'm worried. Tyler, she's having some kind of breakdown. We should stage an intervention. Madison, I knew working so much would affect her eventually. Career women often crack under pressure. Mom, my daughter has mental problems. We've been covering for her for years. The lies are so blatant, so calculated. They're building a narrative where I'm the unstable one, where my accusations are delusions. But they don't know about Thomas Bradley, about the security footage, about Emma's screenshots. I type a single response. The truth always comes to light. Save your lies for the police. Then I leave the group chat. As I drive toward the police station, I think about the $450,000 property they tried to buy. What was their end game? Take out the mortgage default on it. leave me with destroyed credit and possible bankruptcy while they lived in a house bought with my stolen identity. My phone buzzes with one more text. It's from Emma. Grandma and Dad are at the house. They're shredding documents. Mom doesn't know. I'm recording. This 16-year-old girl has more integrity than the adults who raised me. I voice text back, be safe. Don't let them know what you're doing. You're brave, Emma. The police station looms ahead. Once I walk through those doors, there's no going back. My parents will become suspects. Tyler will face investigation. The family that's already fractured will shatter completely. But as I park and gather my evidence, I realize something important. They shattered this family the moment they decided I was nothing more than a bank account to drain. They destroyed it with every forged signature, every guilt trip, every transfer to Tyler, while crying poverty to me. I'm not breaking the family. I'm refusing to let them break me. With that thought, I walk through the station doors ready to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, even if it means watching the people I love face the consequences they've earned. 3 days after filing the police report, I call a family meeting. Not at my parents' house, where they control the environment, but at a neutral location, the conference room at the Marriott downtown. I pay for the space myself, wanting no obligations or guilt trips attached to this confrontation. I arrived 30 minutes early to set up. My lawyer, Sarah Winters, offered to attend, but I need to do this myself. I arrange chairs around the conference table, place water bottles at each seat, and connect my laptop to the projection system. The evidence Emma sent fills several folders on my desktop waiting. Sarah did give me one piece of advice. Record everything. Indiana is a one-party consent state. You have every right to document this meeting. The small digital recorder sits in my jacket pocket, already running. My Aunt Patricia arrives first, as I knew she would. Her warm embrace nearly breaks my resolve. "Honey, I've been sick with worry," she says, studying my face. "You look exhausted." "I haven't been sleeping much," I admit. "Did you know Aunt Pat any of it?" Her eyes fill with tears. "I suspected something was wrong. Your mom always cried poverty but had new clothes. Tyler complained about money but drove expensive cars. But I never imagined—" "None of us did," I assure her, squeezing her hand. Others trickle in over the next 20 minutes. Uncle Robert and Aunt Linda, cousins Marcus and Janet, even Great Aunt Helen, who drove 2 hours from Fort Wayne. The family members who took my parents' side noticeably absent, including Uncle Thomas and Cousin Derek. At exactly 2 o'clock, my parents enter with Tyler and Madison. My mother wears her church outfit, a calculated choice to appear respectable and wronged. My father has his stern patriarch expression fixed in place. Tyler looks haggard, dark circles under his eyes, while Madison appears camera-ready, as always, though her designer handbag is a style from 3 seasons ago. "This is ridiculous," my father announces before even sitting, calling meetings like we're some corporation. "Family doesn't behave this way." "Family doesn't commit fraud either, yet here we are," I respond, standing at the head of the table. "Lena, sweetheart." My mother begins, but I hold up my hand. "Save the manipulation. Everyone here deserves the truth, the whole truth." I click to the first slide on my presentation. For the past 5 years, I've given our parents $180,000. They told me Dad's business failed, they were facing foreclosure, and had no money for basic expenses. Gasps ripple through the room as I display bank transfers, each one annotated with the supposed crisis it addressed. "That's family business," Tyler objects. "You have no right." "I have every right," I interrupt, "especially since you've been receiving half of that money every month while contributing nothing yourself." The room erupts. Aunt Patricia demands answers. Uncle Robert slams his hand on the table. Through it all, my parents maintain their injured act while Madison types furiously on her phone. "Everyone, please," I call out, clicking to the next slide. It gets worse. Emma's screenshots fill the screen. Transfer after transfer from my mother's account to Tyler's, each one dated within days of my payments arriving. "Where did you get these?" My mother's voice rises in pitch. This is private. Your granddaughter provided them, I say, watching Madison's face go white. Emma discovered the truth and had the courage to share it. That little brat, Madison hisses. She had no business. She had every business protecting someone she loves from continued theft. Cousin Marcus interjects. This is embezzlement, plain and simple. I click again. Tyler's gambling debts appear documented through Emma's photos of betting apps and collection notices. $200,000 in gambling debt, I announce, funded by the money meant for our parents' survival, money I sacrificed my own future to provide. Tyler shoots to his feet. You don't understand the pressure I'm under. The expectations, Madison wants a certain lifestyle, Benjamin needs the best schools, Emma's activities cost a fortune. So you gambled away my money? I ask quietly. You stole from our parents' support to feed your addiction. It's not addiction, he shouts. I had a system I was going to win it back. Classic gambler's fallacy, Aunt Helen observes dryly. I've seen it destroy better men than you, Tyler. Madison stands grabbing her purse. This is character assassination. We don't have to listen to this. Sit down. I command with an authority I didn't know I possessed. We're not done. Something in my voice makes her comply. I click to the most damning evidence. This is security footage from First National Bank, Tuesday, November 19th. The grainy video plays showing my mother and Tyler attempting to forge my signature on a mortgage application. The room falls completely silent. On screen, my mother hands over my old driver's license, while Tyler pushes papers across to the loan officer. They tried to take out a $450,000 mortgage in my name, I explain, added to the $180,000 in credit cards and loans they'd already opened fraudulently. Oh my God, Aunt Linda breathes. Dorothy, how could you? My mother's composure finally cracks. We were desperate. Do you know what it's like to pretend everything's fine when you're drowning, to watch your son struggle while your daughter hoards money? Hoards money. I laugh bitterly. I live in a one-bedroom apartment. I drive a 12-year-old car. I haven't taken a vacation in 5 years. Meanwhile, you have a Lexus and a secret $250,000 from Dad's business sale. Another explosion of shock. This time my father speaks. How do you know about that? His voice is dangerous, the tone that used to scare me as a child. David Chen told me, I reply calmly. Imagine his surprise when he learned you'd been claiming poverty while sitting on $250,000. That money is none of your business, my father growls. It became my business when you made me your personal ATM while hiding your own assets. I shoot back. Tyler tries a different tactic. Lena, we're family. We can work this out privately. No need for all this drama. Drama. I click to the next slide. This is the email your mother sent to my HR department claiming I'm mentally unstable. She tried to get me fired. I display the email obtained through my boss, who was disgusted by the attempt. It details supposed concerning behaviors, claims I've been acting, erratically suggests I need psychological intervention. That was for your own good, my mother insists. You've been under so much stress. Stress you caused. I slam my hand on the table, finally letting anger show. You've stolen my money, destroyed my credit, attempted major fraud, and tried to sabotage my career. Then you have the audacity to claim I'm the problem. She's right. A quiet voice speaks from the doorway. Everyone turns to see Emma standing there, her father, Madison's ex-husband, behind her. Emma, Madison shrieks. What are you doing here? You're supposed to be with your father. I am with my father, Emma says calmly, and he knows everything. I told him about the gambling, the theft, the fraud. He's filing for full custody. Madison lunges toward her daughter, but her ex-husband James steps between them. Don't, he warns. Emma's shown me everything. The credit cards you didn't know Tyler opened in your name too, the loans against your car, the fact that he sold your grandmother's real jewelry and replaced it with fakes. Madison staggers back. What? Did you really think I wouldn't notice, Mom? Emma asks sadly. Grandma Morrison's emerald ring, it's glass now. Her pearl necklace, fake. Tyler sold them 6 months ago to cover gambling debts. Tyler. Madison turns to her husband, her perfect facade crumbling. Is this true? His silence is answer enough. I have the pawn shop receipts, Emma adds, pulling out her phone. $47,000 worth of your jewelry, Mom, gone. The room watches Madison process this betrayal. The woman who started this meeting so smug now looks shattered. You stole from me too. Her voice is barely a whisper. I was gonna buy it back, Tyler mumbles, when I won big. The same excuse you used for stealing from Lena, Marcus observes. Classic addict behavior. Stop calling me an addict, Tyler shouts. You don't understand the pressure, the expectations. Everyone thinks I'm successful, but it's all a lie. The house is mortgaged 3 times over. The cars are leased credit cards maxed out. I needed a big win to fix everything. So you decided to destroy your sister's life to fund your delusions, Uncle Robert asks disgustedly. My mother tries one last manipulation. Lena, please. We made mistakes, but we're family. Family forgives. I stand gathering my laptop and materials. Family doesn't systematically destroy each other. Family doesn't steal identities, forge signatures, or attempt to ruin careers. Where are you going? My father demands. To meet with Detective Martinez. She's expecting an update after this meeting. I pause at the door. You have 48 hours to get attorneys. The fraud charges will be filed Monday morning. You'd send your own parents to jail. My mother's voice cracks. I'm not sending you anywhere. You sent yourselves the moment you decided I was nothing more than a resource to exploit. I look around the room at my extended family. I'm sorry you all had to witness this, but you deserve the truth. Aunt Patricia stands. We're with you, Lena. This is criminal and they need to face consequences. Uncle Robert nods. I'll testify if needed. This is unconscionable. One by one, most of the family members voice their support. My parents sit isolated at their end of the table, their lifetime of manipulation finally exposed. Tyler. Madison says quietly, I want a divorce, and I want you out of the house tonight. Baby, please, he starts. Don't, just don't. She turns to me. Lena, I owe you an apology. I was horrible at Thanksgiving. I didn't know. But you suspected, I reply. You knew something wasn't right with the money and you chose to look away as long as you benefited. She nods, tears ruining her perfect makeup. You're right. I was complicit through willful ignorance. Emma crosses to me, wrapping her arms around my waist. I'm proud of you, Aunt Lena. This couldn't have been easy. No, I agree, hugging her back. But it was necessary. As I leave the conference room, I hear the argument starting behind me. Accusations, flying alliances, shifting the family structure forever altered. But for the first time in 5 years, I feel free. The mountain of debt isn't mine to carry. The guilt isn't mine to bear. The consequences aren't mine to face. In the hotel lobby, Sarah Winters waits with Detective Martinez. They've been watching the feed from my laptop live stream to Sarah's phone for legal documentation. That was intense, Detective Martinez says, but you got several confessions on tape. This will make prosecution much easier. What happens now? I ask. Now we build the case, Sarah replies. With what we just witnessed, plus the bank evidence and Emma's documentation, we have enough for arrest warrants. I nod, suddenly exhausted. The adrenaline that carried me through the confrontation is fading, leaving behind a bone-deep weariness. Go home, Sarah advises. Rest. The legal system takes over from here. As I drive home, my phone buzzes constantly with messages from family members. Some supportive, some still in shock, a few angry that I've destroyed the family's image. I ignore them all. Tonight, in my small apartment that my family mocked, I'll sleep peacefully for the first time in years. Not because justice has been served yet, but because the truth is finally free. And sometimes the truth is the sharpest weapon of all. Monday morning arrives with the kind of crisp clarity that makes everything feel more real. I'm sitting in Sarah Winter's law office by 7:30 watching the sun paint downtown Indianapolis in shades of gold and amber. Her office occupies the 20th floor of the Merchants Bank building, all clean lines and professional authority. Sarah herself is nothing like I expected when Thomas Bradley first recommended her. In her early 50s, with silver-streaked auburn hair and laugh lines that suggest she hasn't let her serious profession steal her humanity, she radiates the kind of confidence that comes from winning battles others deemed impossible. Coffee she offers pouring from a French press on her credenza. We have a full day ahead. Please, I accept gratefully. I haven't been sleeping well. That's normal, she assures me, handing me a pristine white mug. Family fraud cases are emotionally exhausting. You're grieving the family you thought you had while fighting the one you actually have. Her words hit deep. I am grieving, though I hadn't named it until now. Detective Martinez will be here in an hour. Sarah continues settling behind her mahogany desk. But first, I want to review our strategy. Based on the evidence from Friday's meeting, we have clear grounds for multiple charges. She opens a leather portfolio thick with documents. Identity theft, forgery, fraud, conspiracy to commit fraud, and potentially racketeering, given the organized nature spanning years. Racketeering. The word sounds too serious, too criminal for my suburban family. Your brother and parents operated a systematic scheme to defraud you. They coordinated their efforts, divided the proceeds, and attempted to cover their tracks. That's organized crime, Lena, regardless of sharing DNA with the perpetrators. A knock interrupts us. Sarah's assistant shows in Detective Martinez, who looks exactly as I'd pictured from our phone conversations. Mid-40s, sharp eyes that miss nothing, and an air of someone who's seen too much but hasn't let it make her cynical. Ms. Morrison, she greets me warmly. I've reviewed the recording from Friday. Your family gave us quite a show. They tend to be dramatic, I reply weakly. Criminal confessions usually are, she says, pulling out her tablet. I've prepared arrest warrants for your parents and brother. We'll execute them this afternoon. The reality hits like cold water. This afternoon, the longer we wait, the more time they have to destroy evidence or flee, Detective Martinez explains. Your cousin Emma informed us they were shredding documents. We need to move fast. Sarah interjects, there's something else, Lena. We've discovered additional victims. My coffee cup freezes halfway to my lips. What? Detective Martinez pulls up files on her tablet. After the bank filed their report, we cross-checked your family members against fraud databases. Your brother has 3 other identity theft victims, all former girlfriends. Your parents have 2 both elderly relatives who've since passed. Oh my God, the room spins slightly. How long has this been going on? Based on our preliminary investigation, at least 12 years, the detective says gently. You weren't their first victim, Lena. You were just their most profitable. Sarah adds, this strengthens our case significantly. Pattern behavior, multiple victims, escalating amounts. No jury will see this as a family misunderstanding. We spend the next 2 hours building the comprehensive case. I sign affidavits, provide additional documentation, and answer questions about family dynamics that might affect prosecution. Through it all, one thought keeps returning: 12 years. They've been doing this for 12 years. At 10 o'clock, Sarah's assistant interrupts. Ms. Winters, there's a James Patterson here with his daughter Emma. They say it's urgent. Send them in, I say quickly. Emma enters, first looking older than her 16 years, but determined. James follows, a folder clutched in his hands. Aunt Lena. Emma says, crossing to hug me. We found more evidence. James steps forward. After Friday's meeting, I went through Madison's things while she was at her mother's. Found these hidden in the garage. He spreads papers across Sarah's desk. Credit card statements in Madison's name showing massive balances. Loan documents she clearly never signed. And most damning, a life insurance policy on Madison worth $2 million with Tyler as sole beneficiary, taken out 6 months ago without her knowledge. He was planning something, James states flatly. You don't secretly insure your wife for $2 million unless you're planning something. Detective Martinez immediately photographs each document. This changes things. We need to add additional charges and possibly involve federal authorities. Federal? I ask. Crossing state lines with fraud using Postal Service for fraudulent insurance applications, and the amount exceeds federal thresholds, she explains. The FBI will want this case. Sarah's already on her phone. I have contacts at the Bureau. Let me make some calls. While she steps into her private conference room, Emma shows me something on her phone. I've been monitoring Dad's social media and email. He's been talking to someone named Sal constantly. Look at these messages. The texts are barely veiled threats. Sal wants his money. Tyler promises he'll have it soon. The amounts mentioned make my stomach turn $300,000 with interest climbing daily. These aren't legitimate creditors, Detective Martinez observes. This is organized crime territory. Your brother's in deep with dangerous people. Which explains the desperation, James adds. The house of cards isn't just falling, it's being demolished by people who don't accept bankruptcy as payment. Sarah returns her expression grim. FBI's interested. They're sending agents this afternoon. Lena, this is bigger than family fraud now. Your brother's connected to an interstate gambling ring they've been investigating. I just wanted them to stop stealing from me, I say, feeling overwhelmed. Now it's federal crimes and organized crime connections. You uncovered a thread, Detective Martinez says. We're just following where it leads. My phone rings. It's my boss, Sandra. Lena, I'm sorry to call during your personal time, but your mother's here. She's in the lobby making a scene demanding to see you, claiming you're having a mental health crisis. I'm not at the office, I tell her. I'm with my attorney. Thank God, Sandra sighs. Security's handling it, but she's saying she'll call every client, every board member until you speak with her. Sarah takes my phone. This is Sarah Winters, Ms. Morrison's attorney. Please have security document everything your visitor says and does. If she refuses to leave, call the police. She's about to be arrested on federal fraud charges, and this harassment will be added to the list. She hands back my phone. Sandra sounds relieved but shocked. Federal fraud, Lena. What's happening? My family's been stealing my identity for years. It's complicated. Can we meet tomorrow? I'll explain everything. Of course. Take all the time you need. And Lena, I never believe their calls about your mental state. Your work's been impeccable despite whatever you're dealing with. After hanging up, I realize I'm crying. Not from sadness, but from relief that someone sees through the gaslighting. They're trying to destroy your credibility before arrests, Sarah observes. Classic move, but poorly executed. Her showing up at your workplace while we're filing charges actually helps our case. Detective Martinez's phone buzzes. She checks it and nods to Sarah. Warrants are signed. We move at 2 p.m. Lena, you should be somewhere public with witnesses when it happens. Any retaliation attempts need documentation. I'll take her to lunch, Sarah offers. Very public, very visible. Emma speaks up. Can I stay with Aunt Lena today? I don't want to be home when they arrest Dad. Of course, I say immediately. James. Already arranged. Emma's staying with my sister tonight. I'm meeting with my lawyer about custody modification given Tyler's criminal activities. We spend another hour coordinating. The FBI agents arrive, 2 professionals who take copies of everything and ask probing questions about Tyler's gambling connections. They seem particularly interested in Sal and show me photos of known associates. I've never seen any of these people, I tell them honestly. Good, one agent says. Keep it that way. These aren't people you want to meet. By noon, we're wrapping up. The legal machinery is in motion, grinding forward with inevitable momentum. Sarah drives Emma and me to St. Elmo Steakhouse, Indianapolis's most visible lunch spot for the business crowd. Order whatever you want, she tells us. The firm's covering lunch. Consider it combat pay. Emma tries to smile. Is it wrong that I'm relieved? That sounds terrible, Dad being arrested, but I'm just so tired of the lies and fear. It's not wrong, I assure her. You've been carrying adult burdens no teenager should face. Being relieved it's ending is completely normal. Mom texted. She shows me her phone. She's asking where I am, says Dad's acting strange packing things. Sarah immediately texts Detective Martinez. Within minutes, she responds that they're moving the timeline up, concerned about flight risk. We're halfway through our shrimp cocktail when Sarah's phone rings. She steps away, returning with a carefully neutral expression. They've made the arrests. Your parents were at their home. Tyler was attempting to board a flight to Costa Rica. He was arrested at the airport. Costa Rica doesn't have extradition, Emma says quietly. He researched it last month. I saw the browser history. The rest of lunch passes in a blur. Emma picks at her food while I pretend to eat. Sarah fields calls from various law enforcement agencies coordinating the next steps. Around us, Indianapolis's business elite conduct their normal Monday lunches, oblivious to our small drama. At 3 o'clock, we return to Sarah's office to find it bustling with activity. Detective Martinez waits with updates. Your parents are in custody, both invoking their right to counsel. Tyler's being held on additional charges after they found $50,000 cash in his carry-on. We're tracing the source. The house, I ask. Being searched now with warrants. We've already found multiple shredders running, but our tech team can reconstruct most documents. Your mother had a suitcase packed too hidden in the basement. They were all planning to run, to leave me with destroyed credit, hundreds of thousands in debt, and no way to recover. The betrayal feels fresh, again deeper. What happens now? I ask. Arraignment tomorrow morning, Sarah explains. They'll be formally charged bail set. Given the fraud amount and flight risk, I expect high bail or remand. Will I have to see them? Not tomorrow. You'll need to testify eventually, but for now, the evidence speaks for itself. Emma's been quiet, scrolling through her phone. Suddenly, she gasps. Oh no. What is it? I ask. She shows me a social media post from my cousin Derek. Family turns on family. Lena Morrison sends her own parents and brother to jail over money. Some people value dollars over blood. Disgusting. The comments are already piling up, some supporting him, others defending me. The family civil war has gone public. Don't engage, Sarah advises. Let them show their true colors online. It only helps our case if they're publicly defending fraud. But it still stings. Being painted as the villain when I'm the victim feels like another violation. Detective Martinez offers unexpected comfort. Ms. Morrison, I've worked financial crimes for 15 years. Family fraud is the hardest because victims get blamed for seeking justice. But you've done nothing wrong. They chose to commit crimes. You chose to stop them. That takes incredible courage. As the afternoon wears on, more details emerge. The house search yields boxes of financial documents, many involving other family members' information. The FBI finds connections between Tyler's gambling and a multi-state operation they've been tracking. My parents' bank records show patterns of fraud dating back over a decade. By 5 o'clock, I'm exhausted. Emma's fallen asleep on Sarah's couch, emotionally drained from the day. James arrives to take her to his sister's, promising to keep her informed but protected from the worst details. You did good today, Sarah tells me as I prepare to leave. The hardest part is over. Is it, I ask? They're arrested, but trials, family fallout, rebuilding my credit, and life feels like it's just beginning. You're right, she admits, but you've taken back control. That's the victory here. Everything else is just process. As I drive home, my phone fills with messages. Some family members express shock at the arrests. Others blame me. A few offer support. I ignore them all, focusing on the road and the setting sun painting the sky in shades of justice delayed, but finally arriving. At my apartment, I find a note taped to my door. It's from my elderly neighbor, Mrs. Chen. Saw the news, dear. If you need anything, I'm here. Sometimes the family we choose is better than the one we're born into. Inside, I make tea and sit by my window watching the city lights flicker to life. Somewhere across town, my parents and brother sit in holding cells, their freedom exchanged for years of taking mine. The irony isn't lost on me. Tomorrow begins the long journey of rebuilding. New credit, new boundaries, new understanding of who deserves trust. But tonight, for the first time in years, I don't check my bank balance with dread. I don't fear the next guilt-laden phone call or manipulative text. Tonight, I'm free, and that's worth more than any amount they stole. Tuesday morning hits differently when your family's mugshots are trending on local news sites. I arrive at Meridian Consulting Group at 6:45, hoping to avoid the early crowd, but Sandra's already waiting in my office with 2 cups of coffee and a concerned expression. Lena. She starts then stops, seemingly at a loss. In our 8 years working together, she's never seen me as anything but composed and professional. I know it's a lot. I acknowledge, accepting the coffee gratefully. I wanted to tell you in person what's been happening. For the next 30 minutes, I lay out the whole story. Sandra's expressions shift from shock to anger to disgust as I detail the fraud, the identity theft, the attempted sabotage of my career. Those calls to HR make sense now, she says. They were trying to discredit you before you could expose them. There's more, I admit. My brother Tyler works at Morrison Tech. They're one of our partner companies. Sandra's eyes widen. Morrison Tech handles several joint projects with us, including the Henderson Industries implementation I'm leading. We need to loop in legal, she says immediately. If he had access to our shared systems, I already thought of that. I pull out my laptop, showing her my documentation. I've been tracking irregularities in our joint projects for the past 6 months, small things I initially attributed to miscommunication. The patterns once isolated seem innocuous. Delayed deliverables from Morrison Tech's side, budget overruns blamed on our specifications, client complaints about integration issues that somehow always traced back to my recommendations, even when I wasn't involved. He's been sabotaging your work, Sandra breathes. This is corporate espionage. I think it's worse than that. I open another file. These are emails from Tyler to stakeholders at Henderson Industries. He's been poisoning the well, suggesting I'm difficult to work with, that I'm the reason for project delays. Sandra's face darkens. She pulls out her phone. Margaret Chen needs to know about this immediately. Margaret Chen, our CEO, is not someone you disturb at 7 in the morning unless the building's on fire. But Sandra calls anyway, putting it on speaker. Sandra, this better be important. Margaret's voice carries the authority of someone who built a consulting empire from scratch. Lena Morrison's brother has been conducting corporate sabotage against us through Morrison Tech. We have evidence. A pause. I'll be there in 20 minutes. Have legal join us. While we wait, I continue showing Sandra the evidence. Email threads where Tyler inserted himself into conversations he had no business joining. Project files accessed from his credentials during my meetings, ensuring he knew my strategies before I could implement them. Subtle alterations to shared documents that made my proposals seem less favorable. How long has this been going on? Sandra asks. Based on the access logs, about 8 months. Right around when I started limiting financial support to my parents. He was building a case to get you fired, she realizes. If you lost your job, I'd be desperate enough to not notice the identity theft, maybe even need their help. I finish her thought, or at least be too overwhelmed to fight back. Margaret arrives with our chief legal counsel, David Park, and the head of IT security, Rashid Patel. What follows is a forensic dissection of 8 months of corporate manipulation. Rashid's fingers fly over his laptop. I'm seeing unauthorized access to our shared drives from Morrison Tech IP addresses. Someone used elevated permissions to view files they shouldn't have accessed. Tyler's a software engineer, I explain. He'd know how to cover his tracks. Not well enough, Rashid mutters. Amateur hour. He masked his initial entry but got sloppy with subsequent access. I can trace every file he touched. David Park is taking rapid notes. This is corporate espionage, breach of contract, and potentially theft of trade secrets. Morrison Tech is liable for their employees' actions. Margaret's been quietly reviewing the emails Tyler sent to Henderson Industries. Her expression grows colder with each one. He told Henderson you were unstable, she says finally. suggested they request a different project lead, used terms like emotional volatility and questionable judgment. Classic gendered sabotage, Sandra observes bitterly. Paint the woman as hysterical, unstable, emotional. My phone buzzes. It's Emma texting from school. News vans at Mom's office. Her company put her on leave. Dad's bail hearing is starting. I show the text to the group. Tyler's bail hearing is this morning. His employer doesn't know about the corporate espionage yet. Margaret smiles. It's not a pleasant expression. They will within the hour. David prepare cease and desist letters for Morrison Tech. Detail every breach. Rashid compile everything for law enforcement. We're adding corporate espionage to Mr. Morrison's charges. What about Henderson Industries? I ask. They've been getting false information about me for months. Leave Henderson to me, Margaret says. Richard Henderson and I go back 20 years. He'll be very interested to know someone's been manipulating his company's relationship with ours. The next 2 hours blur together. Rashid discovers more than we initially thought. Tyler didn't just access my files, he copied entire project proposals, client lists, and pricing strategies. The potential damage runs into millions. He was probably planning to jump ship, David observes. Take your clients and strategies to a competitor, paint you as the problem to cover his tracks. My desk phone rings. It's Detective Martinez. Ms. Morrison thought you should know. Tyler's bail was denied. The judge considered him a flight risk given the airport incident. Your parents got house arrest with ankle monitors, but Tyler's staying in custody. There's more, I tell her. We've discovered corporate espionage. I put her on speaker and let Margaret explain. We'll need all that evidence, Detective Martinez says when we finish. This significantly strengthens the federal case. The FBI will be very interested. After she hangs up, Margaret turns to me. Lena, I need to ask, is there any possibility Tyler had help inside our company? I've wondered that myself. I pull up our organizational chart. He seemed to know about meetings he wasn't invited to, decisions made in closed sessions. Sandra gasps. The Henderson project kickoff. Remember how Morrison Tech showed up with a counter-proposal that addressed every concern we'd discussed privately? I assumed they'd done their homework, I say slowly, but the specifics were too exact. Rashid's already pulling security footage and access logs from that day. We had a visitor badge issued to a Morrison Tech employee who isn't Tyler, Jessica Walsh. That's Tyler's direct report. I recognize the name. She's tagged in his social media constantly, office happy hours, team celebrations. I'll review her access, Rashid says. If Tyler had an accomplice... Margaret stands. Staff meeting in an hour. We need to inform everyone about potential security breaches without causing panic. Lena, you'll present your projects as normal. Don't let this derail your work. Actually, Sandra interjects, I think Lena should take a few days, not because of performance. She adds quickly, seeing my expression. But you're dealing with family arrests, identity theft, and now corporate espionage. That's trauma on top of trauma. I need to work, I protest. If I stop moving, I'll fall apart. Then work from home, Margaret compromises. Full access, full pay, but away from potential drama if reporters show up. This story's gaining traction. She's right. My phone's been buzzing with calls from unknown numbers all morning. One voicemail is from a reporter at the Indianapolis Star wanting a statement about sending your family to prison over money. David Park offers unexpected support. I can draft a statement if media becomes persistent. Make it clear you're a victim of serious crimes, not a vindictive family member. Would that help? I ask. Public perception matters, he admits. Especially if this goes to trial. Jury pools come from the same public reading these headlines. By 10 o'clock, the corporate investigation has expanded. Rashid's found evidence of Jessica Walsh accessing systems outside her authorization, always within hours of Tyler's intrusions. Margaret's on the phone with Morrison Tech's CEO, who's apparently just learning his company might face massive liability. He's claiming complete ignorance, she reports. Says Tyler was a model employee, high performer, great team player. Sociopaths usually are, Sarah Winters says. She's arrived for a scheduled meeting but quickly becomes absorbed in the unfolding corporate drama. They're charming until they're caught. My phone rings with a number I don't recognize. Against better judgment, I answer. Lena, this is Pastor Williams from your parents' church. My stomach drops. Pastor Williams has known me since childhood, baptized me at 13, counseled our family through various crises. I'm calling about your parents. He continues. They're devastated, Lena. Your mother had to be sedated last night. Your father's age, 10 years. Whatever disagreement you have, surely it doesn't warrant destroying your family. Pastor Williams. I say carefully, aware everyone in the room is listening. Did they tell you they stole my identity, opened credit cards in my name, and tried to take out a fraudulent mortgage? Silence. Then, they mentioned a misunderstanding about finances. A misunderstanding. My voice rises. They committed federal crimes. They destroyed my credit. They tried to get me fired. That's not a misunderstanding, that's a criminal conspiracy. Lena, the Bible teaches forgiveness. It also teaches thou shalt not steal, and thou shalt not bear false witness. I interrupt. They stole hundreds of thousands and are lying about it. Where's your sermon about that? Sarah takes the phone. This is Ms. Morrison's attorney. Any further contact should go through my office. And Pastor, you might want to verify facts before inserting yourself into federal criminal proceedings. She hangs up and hands back my phone. That won't be the last flying monkey they send. Flying monkey, Rashid asks. Narcissist terminology. Emma texts. She's been following our group chat. People who do the narcissist's bidding, usually unknowingly. Grandma and Grandpa are probably calling everyone with their victim story. Margaret's assistant interrupts. Ms. Chen Richard Henderson on line 1. He says it's urgent. Margaret takes the call in her office. Through the glass, we can see her expression shift from professional to genuinely shocked. She gestures for me to join her. Richard, I'm putting you on speaker with Lena Morrison. Ms. Morrison. Henderson's voice is grave. I just received a call from Tyler Morrison. He's in jail asking me to post his bail in exchange for information about supposed irregularities in your work. My knees go weak. Even from jail, Tyler's trying to destroy me. What did you tell him? Margaret asks. That I don't negotiate with criminals, Henderson replies. But I thought you should know. He's desperate and dangerous. He also mentioned something about owing money to people who don't accept excuses. Sal, I whisper. His bookie. Emma said he owes $300,000. Then we have bigger problems, Henderson says. Those kinds of people don't care about jail cells. They'll go after family to collect. Sarah immediately calls Detective Martinez to report the new threat. Margaret insists on hiring security for me, overriding my protests. This isn't just about you anymore, she says firmly. You're a key witness in federal proceedings and now corporate espionage. Your safety affects multiple cases. By noon, my professional life has been turned inside out just like my personal one. But something unexpected emerges from the chaos support. Colleagues express outrage at Tyler's sabotage. The IT team rallies around Rashid to plug security holes. Legal prepares an aggressive response to protect our interests. You've built real relationships here, Sandra observes as we pack up my office for temporary remote work. That's why Tyler's sabotage failed. People know who you really are. My phone buzzes with another text from Emma. Dad's lawyer just quit. Says the case is unwinnable with current evidence. Mom's filed for divorce. Grandma's pastor called asking why the church mortgage payment bounced. Each message reveals another thread in the web of lies unraveling. Tyler borrowed from church's friends anyone who'd listen, always planning to pay it back with the big win that never came. Your family, Margaret says, quietly reading over my shoulder, appears to be a criminal enterprise masquerading as relatives. I'm starting to realize that, I admit, the signs were there. I just love them too much to see. Love makes us blind. she acknowledges. But it shouldn't make us victims. As I leave the office with a banker's box of essential files and a laptop configured for secure remote access, Rashid stops me. Lena, I found something else. Tyler's been in our systems since before you limited their money. The timeline suggests this wasn't retaliation. He's been planning to undermine you for over a year. Why, I ask, though I suspect the answer. Based on the patterns building a case to either get you fired or discredit you so thoroughly that no one would believe you about fraud. He pauses. This was premeditated, Lena. Long-term planning to destroy you professionally and personally. The weight of it settles on my shoulders. My own brother spent a year plotting my destruction while smiling at family dinners accepting my money, playing the devoted sibling. Thank you for finding this, I tell Rashid. All of it. Just doing my job, he says, then adds softly, but also Tyler's an idiot. His code is amateur level. You're worth 10 of him professionally. Don't let him make you doubt that. In the parking garage, my new security detail waits by my car. Marcus Thompson, former military police, now private security. He's professional but kind understanding. This isn't a situation I ever imagined needing. Ma'am, he says, I'll be following you home, then maintaining a presence. You won't see me, but I'll be there. This feels surreal, I admit. Financial crimes mixed with gambling debts often turn violent, he says matter-of-factly. Your brother made enemies who don't care about court dates. Better safe than sorry. As I drive home with Marcus's SUV maintaining a careful distance behind me, I reflect on the morning's revelations. Tyler didn't just steal money or commit fraud. He tried to systematically destroy every aspect of my life. Career, finances, family, reputation, all targeted with methodical precision. But he failed. The professional relationships I built on merit and integrity held strong. The documentation habits he mocked as anal retentive became evidence of his crimes. The very persistence he tried to paint as mental instability became the strength that exposed him. My phone rings through the car's Bluetooth. It's Sarah Winters. Lena update. Jessica Walsh from Morrison Tech was just arrested. She confessed to helping Tyler in exchange for promises of a better position when he started his own company with stolen clients. He was planning to start his own company. With your clients, your strategies, and your reputation destroyed so thoroughly, no one would believe you when you claimed theft. Sarah pauses. This wasn't just fraud, Lena. This was an attempt at complete identity theft professionally and personally. I pull into my apartment complex, noticing Marcus positioning his vehicle with clear sightlines to my building. The weight of everything crashes down. My brother didn't just want my money, he wanted my life, my career, everything I'd built through honest work and sacrifice. You still there? Sarah asks. Yeah, I manage, just processing the scope of betrayal. Process it, she advises. Feel it, then channel it into ensuring they face justice. Your testimony will be crucial. Inside my apartment, I lock the door and lean against it. Safe for now, but knowing Tyler's reach extends beyond jail cells, that his debts to dangerous people make me a target by proxy. My laptop chimes with an encrypted message from Margaret. Henderson reviewed the real project files, impressed by your actual work versus Tyler's fabrications, wants to expand our contract. Your integrity in this situation has actually strengthened our business relationship. It's a small victory in an ocean of chaos, but I'll take it. Tyler tried to destroy my professional life and instead revealed its strong foundations. He tried to isolate me and instead showed me who truly has my back. Tomorrow, I'll work from home building cases, both legal and professional. But tonight, I deadbolt my door grateful for Marcus's presence outside and try not to think about what desperate people do when their schemes collapse. The workplace conspiracy failed, but I know this isn't over. Tyler's web extends beyond family fraud and corporate espionage. Somewhere in Indianapolis, dangerous people are calculating how to recover their money. And I'm the only one left with any assets to claim. Wednesday afternoon, I'm deep in project documentation when my phone rings with a number I don't recognize. I almost don't answer. Reporters have been relentless. But something makes me pick up. Lena. This is your Aunt Patricia, not your mother's sister, Patricia, your father's estranged sister, Patricia Chen. I nearly dropped the phone. Aunt Patricia hasn't been mentioned in our family for 15 years, not since the explosive fight at Grandma Morrison's funeral that led to her complete exile from the family. I know this is unexpected. She continues, her voice carrying a slight accent from years living in Singapore. But I've been following the news about your parents and Tyler. There are things you need to know, things about your grandmother's estate. Grandma Morrison. My voice sounds strange to my own ears. She died when I was 17. The estate was settled years ago. That's what they told you, Patricia says carefully. Can we meet? I'm in Indianapolis for the next 48 hours specifically to see you. I have documents you need to see. Every instinct screams caution, but something in her voice, perhaps the careful way she phrases things, like someone who's been burned by family before, makes me agree. We arranged to meet at the Alexander Hotel downtown, public and safe. I call Sarah Winters immediately. My estranged aunt just contacted me about my grandmother's estate. This feels like another shoe dropping. Take Marcus with you, Sarah advises, and record everything. At this point, assume every family interaction has legal implications. 2 hours later, I'm sitting across from Aunt Patricia in the hotel's conservatory. She looks like a softer version of my father, the same sharp cheekbones, but with warmth in her eyes he's never possessed. Marcus sits 2 tables away pretending to read a newspaper. You look like her, Patricia says, studying my face. Your grandmother. Same determined chin, same eyes that see too much. I barely remember her clearly, I admit. Just impressions. She always smelled like lavender and gave the best hugs. She loved you fiercely. Patricia's eyes missed, which is why what I'm about to tell you will hurt. She pulls out a leather portfolio, aged and official looking. Your grandmother didn't just leave the small inheritance your parents claimed. She left a substantial estate in trust specifically designed to prevent your parents from accessing it. My hands shake as I open the portfolio. Legal documents, bank statements, property deeds. The numbers make no sense. They're too large, too significant. This says she left me. I can't finish the sentence. $400,000 in cash, her house on Meridian Street, and a 60% stake in Morrison Imports. Patricia confirms. The company your parents told you went bankrupt. It's been operating profitably for the past 15 years. Your cousin Daniel, my son, has been managing it from Singapore. The room tilts. I grip the table for stability. But Dad said the company failed, that Grandma died broke. That's why we couldn't afford college without loans. Your grandmother knew exactly who your father was, Patricia says gently. She structured the trust to protect you and Tyler from your parents' greed. The trustee was supposed to inform you on your 25th birthday. I'm 32, I state numbly. No one ever contacted me. Because the trustee was your father's lawyer friend, Robert Steinberg. They've been hiding the trust and collecting management fees while telling you nothing existed. I flipped through pages of bank statements showing quarterly dividends deposited into an account I've never seen. Annual reports from Morrison Imports showing steady growth. Property tax records for a house I supposedly own but have never visited. This is why you fought at the funeral, I realize. You knew what they were planning. Patricia nods. I tried to get guardianship of the trust, but your parents had already poisoned the family against me. Called me a gold digger trying to steal from grieving children. The judge sided with them, appointing their chosen trustee. How much, I swallow hard, how much have they stolen? Based on my calculations between dividends, rental income from the house and company distributions, approximately $1.2 million over 7 years. The number is so large it doesn't feel real. While I've been living in a 1-bedroom apartment, sacrificing everything to send them $3,000 monthly, they've been sitting on $1 million of my money. Why didn't you contact me sooner? I ask, anger starting to burn through shock. I tried. Patricia pulls out printed emails. Every attempt was blocked. Your parents threatened legal action for harassment. They told the rest of the family I was mentally unstable, obsessed with money that didn't exist. I had to wait until you were free from their influence. The arrest gave you an opening, I understand. More than that, she says, Robert Steinberg is representing your parents in the fraud case. That creates a conflict of interest that voids his trusteeship. I've already filed emergency papers to have the trust transferred to an independent fiduciary. My phone buzzes with a text from Sarah. Patricia Chen checks out. Corporate records confirm she's been running Morrison Imports successfully. Get everything documented. There's more. Patricia continues pulling out another document. Your grandmother left detailed letters explaining her decisions. She wanted you to have them when the trust matured. I open the sealed envelope with shaking hands. My grandmother's precise handwriting fills pages of cream stationery. My dearest Lena, it begins. If you're reading this, then my safeguards have finally worked, though likely later than I intended. By now you've discovered the extent of your parents' greed. I have to stop reading as tears blur my vision. Even from beyond the grave, my grandmother saw what I was too blinded by love to recognize. Patricia reaches across the table, taking my hand. She knew they'd try to steal from you. The trust was designed to protect you until you were old enough and strong enough to protect yourself. Tyler has a trust too, I ask. Patricia corrects. He gained access at 25 and burned through it in 18 months. Gambling, bad investments, trying to impress Madison. Your parents helped him hide the loss from you. Another piece clicks into place. Tyler's supposed success, the house, the cars, it was all funded by his trust before he destroyed it. Then they turned my money to maintain the illusion. What about the house, I ask, the one on Meridian Street? Currently rented to a lovely family. I've been monitoring it through a property management company. It's worth approximately $800,000 in today's market. Your grandmother bought it as an investment property in 1995. I laugh, but it's borderline hysterical. I've been killing myself to pay rent while owning a house worth $800,000 that you didn't know existed because they hid it, Patricia emphasizes. This isn't your fault, Lena. You were systematically deceived by people who should have protected you. The company, I focus on something concrete to avoid falling apart. Morrison Imports, what exactly does it do now? Patricia pulls out an iPad showing me the company website. We import artisanal goods from Southeast Asia, fair trade sustainable sourcing. Your grandmother would be proud. Annual revenue just hit $12 million. Your 60% stake is worth approximately $3.6 million. The numbers stop making sense. It's like discovering you've been living in poverty while unknowingly being a millionaire. The cognitive dissonance makes my head spin. I need to call my lawyer. I manage. I've brought copies of everything, Patricia says, sliding a thumb drive across the table. Financial records, trust documents, correspondence. Daniel's prepared to do a full accounting of company operations whenever you're ready. I excuse myself to the bathroom where I promptly have a panic attack. Marcus discreetly follows standing guard outside while I hyperventilate in a marble stall. The betrayal feels infinite, like peeling an onion where every layer reveals fresh horror. When I finally emerge somewhat composed, Patricia's ordered tea. The normalcy of Earl Grey in delicate china provides an anchor to reality. I know it's overwhelming, she says gently, but you need to know one more thing. The trust maturity date is in 8 weeks. On your 33rd birthday, you'll gain full control of all assets. Your parents know this. That's why the mortgage fraud, I realize. They were trying to steal what they could before I found out. Exactly. Robert Steinberg was supposed to destroy evidence of the trust before maturity, make it seem like a clerical error that it was never distributed. Your arrest of them disrupted that plan. He's still their lawyer, I point out. What if he destroys documents now? Patricia smiles. Everything's been digitally archived with multiple law firms in Singapore and Switzerland. I might have been exiled, but I wasn't naive. I've been protecting your interests from afar. Why, I ask, you didn't have to do any of this? Because your grandmother asked me to, she says simply, and because family should mean something more than shared DNA and mutual exploitation. You deserved better, Lena. You still do. We spend another hour going through documents. Patricia explains how the trust works, how the company operates, what steps need to happen for me to claim my inheritance. It's a crash course in wealth I didn't know I had. Your parents will fight this, she warns. They've had 7 years to create false narratives about the estate, but the paper trail is clear. Legal forensic accounting will expose everything. Add it to the pile, I say, exhaustion creeping in. Identity theft, fraud, corporate espionage, and now trust theft. At what point does it stop being family drama and start being organized crime? About 6 years ago, Patricia says dryly. Your parents crossed that line long before you realized it. As we prepare to leave, she hands me one last envelope. This came to the company last month addressed to you. I think it's from someone who owes Tyler money looking for leverage. I didn't open it. The envelope has no return address, just my name in block letters. Inside, photographs of Tyler at various gambling establishments, meeting with men who look like they break kneecaps professionally. The last photo shows him signing something while a man counts cash in the background. A sticky note is attached. Your brother owes us $300K plus interest. Family pays family debts. You seem like the only one with money. Be smart. My blood runs cold. Marcus immediately takes the photos, calling it in to Sarah and Detective Martinez. This is witness intimidation, he states. They're trying to transfer his debt to you. Can they do that, I ask. Legally, no. But these aren't people who care about legal. Marcus replies. We need to enhance your security immediately. Patricia looks stricken. I didn't realize. I thought it was just angry creditors, not actual threats. It's not your fault, I assure her, though my hands shake. One more thing to handle. At least now I apparently have the resources to protect myself. You have more than resources, Patricia says firmly. You have truth. Your grandmother made sure of that. Every document, every financial record, every legal safeguard. She knew this day would come. As Marcus escorts me to my car, I clutch the portfolio containing proof of my stolen inheritance. In 8 weeks, I'll be a millionaire. But first, I have to survive my brother's gambling debts, my parents' legal revenge, and whatever else crawls out of the woodwork. You okay? Marcus asks, noting my pale face. My entire life has been a lie. I answer. My parents stole my inheritance while crying poverty. My brother gambled it away while I funded their lifestyle. And now organized crime thinks I'm their next target. So no, not really okay. But you're fighting back, he observes. That takes guts. Or stupidity, I mutter. No, he says firmly. I've seen plenty of family fraud victims. Most never fight back. They accept the abuse, internalize the guilt, let it continue. You're breaking the cycle. That's brave. As we drive back to my apartment, I think about my grandmother. She saw this coming, planned for it, tried to protect me from beyond the grave. The trust wasn't just money. It was her way of ensuring I'd eventually have the power to fight back. My phone rings. It's Sarah Winters. Lena, I've reviewed the documents Patricia provided. This is massive. We're talking about criminal breach of fiduciary duty, embezzlement, and fraud spanning years. The FBI will want to add this to their case. How did they think they'd get away with it, I ask. Because they almost did, Sarah replies. If you hadn't caught the identity theft, if Tyler hadn't been arrested trying to flee, if Patricia hadn't kept records, they would have succeeded. The trust would have been looted, documents destroyed, and you'd never have known. But now I do know, I say, steel entering my voice. Now you know, Sarah agrees. And in 8 weeks, you'll have the resources to ensure they face justice for everything they've stolen. Your grandmother made sure of that. As I enter my apartment, Marcus doing his security sweep, I set the portfolio on my kitchen table. Inside are deeds to property. I've never seen statements from accounts I didn't know existed, proof of a company I was told failed. But more than that, it contains evidence of exactly how long and how thoroughly my family has betrayed me. Every monthly payment I scraped together while they sat on millions. Every sacrifice I made while they lived off my inheritance. The anger that rises isn't hot anymore. It's cold, precise, focused. They didn't just steal money. They stole years of my life, opportunities, peace of mind. They watched me struggle and sacrifice while sitting on wealth that belonged to me. 8 weeks until I control everything. 8 weeks until the full truth emerges. 8 weeks until my grandmother's plan finally protects me the way she intended. I pick up the letter she wrote, reading the final paragraph. My dear Lena, by now you know the truth about those who share your blood. But remember, family isn't just about genetics. It's about love, protection, and truth. Find your real family, the ones who support rather than exploit. You are stronger than you know, wealthier than you imagine, and deserving of so much more than they ever gave you. Live well. It's the best revenge. Through my tears, I smile. Grandma always did give the best advice, and in 8 weeks, I'll have the power to follow it. Thursday morning starts with Sarah Winters arriving at my apartment at 7 sharp, accompanied by 2 additional people I don't recognize. Marcus lets them in after checking credentials, his presence a now familiar comfort in my increasingly dangerous life. This is Jennifer Walsh, forensic accountant, and David Kim, digital security specialist. Sarah introduces them as they set up laptops on my dining table. We're going to war, Lena. Time to go from defense to offense. Jennifer Walsh looks like she could audit the Pentagon before breakfast. Sharp suit, sharper eyes, and an air of someone who finds hidden money the way others find loose change in couches. David Kim, younger and dressed in Silicon Valley casual, has already started scanning my apartment with some kind of electronic device. Your apartment's clean, David announces. No surveillance devices, but your phone and laptop need immediate security upgrades. If your family's been this systematic, we have to assume they've tried digital surveillance too. While he works on my devices, Jennifer spreads financial documents across the table like a general planning a campaign. Based on Patricia's documentation and what we've uncovered about the trust, your parents and Robert Steinberg have stolen approximately $1.6 million over 7 years, she states. But that's just the beginning. I found shell companies, hidden accounts, and property transfers that suggest a much larger scheme. Shell companies. I sink into a chair accepting coffee from Sarah. 3 so far, all registered in Delaware with your forged signature as a board member. Jennifer pulls up corporate documents on her laptop. They've been using these to launder money from your trust through fake consulting fees and property management charges. Sarah adds, this elevates the charges from simple fraud to racketeering. The FBI is going to have a field day with this. My phone now secured by David buzzes with a text from Emma. Found more docs in Dad's home office, sending photos. Also, Mom's lawyer says Dad owes more than gambling debts. He borrowed from bad people for investments that failed. The photos arrive showing loan documents with interest rates that make my stomach turn. 30% monthly compounding. Names like Sal's Investment Group and Morrison Emergency Capital. Mob loans. David states flatly, looking over my shoulder. Your brother borrowed from organized crime. No wonder they're threatening you. Can we use this? I ask Sarah. Everything helps build the pattern, she confirms. But first, we need to secure your inheritance before they can steal more. Patricia's emergency filing hit the court system this morning. Robert Steinberg has 72 hours to respond. He's probably shredding documents as we speak, I mutter. Jennifer smiles coldly. Let him. I've already subpoenaed 5 years of records from banks, brokerages, and the property management companies. Paper shredders can't destroy digital footprints. We spend the next 3 hours building what Sarah calls the war room. Every financial document, every email, every text message cataloged and cross-referenced. Jennifer discovers 2 more properties purchased with trust funds, but titled in my parents' names. David uncovers a digital trail of Tyler accessing my personal accounts going back 3 years. He installed keylogger software on your devices during family dinners, David explains, showing me the evidence. Every password you typed, every account you accessed, he could see. That's how they stayed ahead of you. The violation feels fresh again. Every private moment, every personal communication potentially monitored by my brother. Can we prove this? Already documented, David confirms. The software leaves traces. It's another federal crime to add to his collection. Detective Martinez calls with an update. Tyler's trying to make a deal. Says he has information about larger financial crimes in exchange for reduced charges. He's trying to flip on our parents, I ask. Seems like it. His lawyer hinted at documentation hidden from previous investigations. We're listening, but making no promises. Sarah immediately objects. Don't let him minimize his role. He's the one who committed corporate espionage and took mob loans. The parents are guilty, but he's the dangerous one. After Martinez hangs up, we return to building our case. Jennifer's excitement grows as she uncovers more financial malfeasance. Your grandmother was brilliant, she says admiringly. The trust structure made it hard for them to steal everything, but they found workarounds. Look at this property management fees of $40,000 annually for a house that maybe costs $10,000 to maintain. The rest went straight to their accounts. For 7 years, I calculate. That's $210,000 just in inflated fees. Plus dividends, company distributions, and investment returns they claimed didn't exist, Jennifer adds. Your parents have been living entirely off your inheritance while taking your monthly payments as spending money. Sarah's phone rings. She steps away, returning with a grim expression. That was the federal prosecutor. They're adding RICO charges based on the shell company evidence. Your parents and Steinberg operated as a criminal organization. This is now officially an organized crime case. The weight of it settles over the room. My family isn't just dysfunctional or greedy, they're officially a criminal enterprise. Emma texts again. Grandma's at the house with some man I don't recognize. They're loading boxes into a van. Should I call someone? I show Sarah, who immediately calls Detective Martinez. They're destroying evidence. Get units there now. On it, Martinez responds. We'll arrest anyone removing potential evidence. 20 minutes later, Emma sends a video. Police cars surrounding my parents' house. My mother being led away in handcuffs again, screaming about harassment. An unfamiliar man also arrested his van full of financial documents and computer equipment. Evidence destruction and witness tampering. Sarah notes with satisfaction. She just violated her house arrest. No judge will grant bail now. Patricia calls from her hotel. I just got served with a cease and desist from Steinberg. He's claiming I'm interfering with trust administration. Perfect, Sarah says when I relay the message. He's acknowledging the trust exists. That's half our battle won. Have Patricia's lawyer respond that we're filing criminal charges for breach of fiduciary duty. The morning continues with revelation after revelation. Jennifer finds investment accounts opened in my name, but controlled by my parents, containing money that should have been in my trust. David discovers Tyler had administrative access to Morrison Imports computer systems despite never working there. He was siphoning data, David explains. Customer lists, supplier contracts, financial projections. Probably planning to start a competing company or sell trade secrets. To fund his gambling, I realize, everything always comes back to the gambling. Addiction makes people desperate, Sarah observes. And desperate people do stupid things, like stealing from mob-connected bookies and trying to flip on their criminal parents. My laptop pings with an encrypted message from Margaret Chen. Henderson Industries reviewed Tyler's sabotage evidence. They're adding our company to a civil suit against Morrison Tech. Potential damages in the millions. Your documentation made this possible. At least my professional life might recover from this. I forward the message to Sarah, who adds it to our growing case file. Every crime creates ripples, she explains. Tyler didn't just hurt you, he damaged multiple companies' other employees' clients. The full scope is staggering. By noon, we've assembled what Jennifer calls a prosecutor's dream. Financial crimes documented across state lines involving multiple victims using sophisticated methods. The FBI agents who arrive to review our work whistle appreciatively. This is some of the most comprehensive documentation we've seen, Agent Sarah Chen admits. Usually we have to piece together fragments. You've handed us a gift-wrapped case. Thank my grandmother, I reply. She apparently knew this day would come. Agent Chen's partner, Agent Williams, focuses on the mob connection. These creditors Tyler owes, we've been tracking them for years. This might be our way into their organization. Am I in danger? I ask directly. Yes, he answers without sugarcoating, but we're going to make it very public that you're cooperating with federal authorities and that any harm to you would bring massive law enforcement response. Sometimes the best protection is making you too hot to touch. They leave with copies of everything promising increased federal attention to my safety. Sarah seems satisfied with the morning's work. We've shifted the narrative, she explains. You're not a family member having a dispute. You're a victim of organized crime cooperating with federal authorities. That changes everything. Jennifer continues her forensic accounting, occasionally making delighted sounds as she uncovers new financial crimes. Your parents were so arrogant. They barely tried to hide the later thefts, probably figured you'd never find out. Or that I'd be too broken to fight back if I did, I add quietly. David looks up from his laptop. Speaking of fighting back, I've secured all your accounts with military-grade encryption. I've also set up monitoring for any attempts to access your credit or financial records. You'll know instantly if anyone tries anything. Can you trace previous breaches? I ask. Already done, he smiles. Your brother accessed your accounts 247 times over 3 years. Your mother, 63 times. Your father, 18. All documented with timestamps and IP addresses. Even my father, I whisper. The man who taught me about honesty and integrity, who lectured about character and moral values, had been stealing from me too. Sarah squeezes my shoulder. I know it hurts, but every betrayal we document is another nail in their legal coffin. They chose this path. You're just illuminating it. Patricia arrives after lunch with her son Daniel via video call from Singapore. My cousin is nothing like Tyler's serious professional and clearly protective of the company our grandmother built. Lena, he greets me warmly. I've wanted to contact you for years, but my mother said it wasn't safe until you were free from them. I'm sorry we couldn't protect you sooner. You protected the company, I point out. That's something. Morrison Imports is your legacy, he states. I've been managing it, but you're the majority owner. Every decision I've made has been with the intention of eventually transferring control to you. He shares screens, showing company operations, financial statements, growth projections. The business our grandmother started with a small import shop has become a multi-million-dollar operation spanning 6 countries. We've held off on major expansions waiting for you to take your rightful place, Daniel explains. There's so much potential, but I wouldn't move forward without the true owner's input. I don't know anything about running an import business, I admit. You know about business, Patricia interjects. Your consulting work proves that. The specifics can be learned. The integrity you've shown can't be taught. We discussed transition plans with Daniel offering to continue managing operations while I learn the business. It's overwhelming but exciting, a future beyond the current chaos. There's something else, Daniel adds. Grandmother left sealed letters for when you took control. Business advice, personal messages. She really did think of everything. By late afternoon, our war room has expanded to include corporate lawyers, federal agents, and financial advisors. What started as defense against family fraud has become a multi-front legal battle with implications I'm still processing. Your parents' arraignment is tomorrow. Detective Martinez updates via phone. With the evidence tampering charges added, they're looking at serious time. Steinberg's been arrested too, by the way. Breach of fiduciary duty and fraud. One by one, the dominoes fall. Each person who participated in stealing from me faces consequences. But there's no satisfaction in it, just exhaustion and grief for the family that never really existed. Sarah notices my mood. You're allowed to mourn them, you know. The parents you deserve, the brother you thought you had. Grief and justice aren't mutually exclusive. I know, I say quietly. It just feels like I'm attending a funeral for people who are still alive. Everything I believed about them is dead. But you're not, she reminds me. You survived their worst efforts. In 8 weeks, you'll have resources they tried to steal, and you'll use them better than they ever could. As everyone packs up for the day, Emma texts one final update. Mom's moving us in with her sister tonight. Dad's things are in the garage. Found a notebook in his desk. It's addresses and phone numbers with dollar amounts. Sending photos. The images show Tyler's connections to a wider network of gambling and criminal creditors. Names, amounts, dates, due. It's evidence of how deep his addiction went and how dangerous his associates are. We'll need to turn this over to the FBI, Sarah says, reviewing the photos. This could help them map the entire network. As night falls, I'm alone in my apartment except for Marcus's protective presence outside. The dining table is clear of documents, but my laptop contains gigabytes of evidence of familial betrayal, spanning years. Tomorrow, my parents face expanded charges. Tyler remains in jail, probably trying to bargain his way out while his creditors grow impatient. The machinery of justice grinds forward, powered by the evidence we've assembled. But tonight, I sit with my grandmother's letter, reading her words about finding real family among those who protect rather than exploit. I think of Patricia flying in from Singapore to help a niece she barely knows, of Emma brave enough to document her own father's crimes, of Sarah working tirelessly to ensure justice, of colleagues who rallied around me when Tyler tried to destroy my career. These people connected by choice rather than blood have shown me more loyalty in 1 week than my biological family did in 32 years. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. Your brother's debt transfers to family, $300K plus interest. We know where you live. I forward it to Sarah and the FBI agents immediately. Within minutes, Marcus is joined by additional security federal agents establishing surveillance on my building. The war has escalated, but I'm no longer fighting alone, and in 8 weeks, I'll have the resources to win it. My grandmother knew this day would come. She prepared for it, planned for it, ensured I'd have the tools to survive it. Tomorrow, the counterattack continues. Tonight, I plan my future beyond the ashes of my past. Friday morning arrives with the kind of November drizzle that makes Indianapolis feel like it's mourning something. I'm reviewing quarterly reports from Morrison Imports when Jennifer Walsh calls with excitement, barely contained in her professional voice. Lena, you need to see what I found. Can you meet me at 4721 Maple Grove Lane in an hour? Bring Sarah. That address. The property my parents tried to fraudulently mortgage in my name. My stomach tightens as I agree. Marcus insists on advanced security sweeps before we arrive. The address leads us to an industrial area on the northwest side, not the residential neighborhood I'd expected. A modest office building sits surrounded by warehouses, looking deliberately unremarkable. Sarah meets me in the parking lot, her expression curious. Why would they try to mortgage commercial property as residential? Jennifer waits by the entrance, practically vibrating with discovery, because they didn't want anyone looking too closely at what this actually is. She leads us inside past a dusty reception area that hasn't seen use in years. But beyond that facade, through a security door that requires multiple keys, lies something entirely different. Welcome to Morrison Imports' real headquarters, Jennifer announces. The space transforms from neglected to state-of-the-art. Modern offices, a conference room with video screens for international calls, filing systems that speak to organization and success. It's clearly been in active use recently. But Daniel said they operate from Singapore, I stammer. They do, Jennifer confirms. But this is the U.S. hub, has been for 15 years. Your parents have been running the American operations of your own company without telling you. Sarah's already documenting everything with her phone. This is beyond fraud. I don't even have words. Jennifer leads us to an office marked President. Inside, family photos line the credenza, my father smiling from behind an executive desk I've never seen him occupy. Awards on the wall celebrate Morrison Imports' success, my father's name prominently displayed as president of U.S. operations. He's been coming here every day, Jennifer explains. That construction company, failure, a lie. He's been drawing a salary of $250,000 annually as president of the company you own. I sink into a chair staring at evidence of a double life I never suspected. My mother... CFO Jennifer pulls out payroll records. $175,000 annually. They've paid themselves over $3 million in salaries from your company over the past decade. But I own 60%, I whisper, which they hid while operating as if they owned everything, Sarah states. This is corporate theft on top of everything else. Jennifer guides us through the building, each room revealing new layers of deception. The warehouse contains hundreds of thousands in inventory. The accounting office shows profits hidden from me but carefully tracked. The shipping department processes orders daily, business thriving while I scraped by. How is all I manage? Shell companies layered over the real ownership, Jennifer explains. They created a corporate structure that obscured your grandmother's trust ownership. On paper, a company called Meridian Holdings owns this operation. Trace it back far enough, and Meridian Holdings is owned by your trust, which Robert Steinberg controlled. Sarah finishes. He helped them hide an entire company from its rightful owner. In the conference room, Jennifer spreads out 5 years of financial statements. Morrison Imports' U.S. division generates $8 million annually. After salaries and expenses, profits of $2 million per year flow into accounts I've never seen. Where did the profits go? I ask, though I suspect the answer. Dividends to Meridian Holdings, which paid management fees to 3 consulting companies. Jennifer traces the money flow. Those consulting companies owned by your parents and Tyler. They've been paying themselves from your profits 4 different ways. Sarah's on the phone with the FBI, adding corporate theft and embezzlement to the growing list of charges. I wander the offices in a daze, seeing evidence of the business life my family lived while telling me they were destitute. Tyler's office stops me cold. Unlike my father's traditional space, this screams new money. Gaming setup, expensive electronics, signed sports memorabilia. A nameplate reads, Vice President of Strategic Development. He worked here too, I asked Jennifer. 100,000 salary plus bonuses tied to performance metrics that seem to always max out. She shows me payroll records. He'd work a few hours weekly, mainly using company resources for personal trading. We found evidence he tried to use company accounts for gambling before your father stopped him. So Dad drew the line at Tyler stealing from the company but not from me, I observe bitterly. The company was their golden goose, Sarah says, returning from her call. They couldn't let Tyler kill it. You, on the other hand, were just supposed to never find out. A door we haven't opened leads to a smaller office. Inside, dust covers everything as if frozen in time. The nameplate reads, Eleanor Morrison, Founder. Grandma's office. I breathe, touching the desk reverently. Unlike the others, this space feels honest. Photos of family before the greed took hold, business plans in her handwriting, a vision board showing plans for ethical importing fair trade, supporting women entrepreneurs in developing countries. They kept her office but betrayed everything she stood for, I say quietly. Jennifer pulls a ledger from the desk. Original incorporation documents. Your grandmother started this with $5,000 and a dream. Built it into something worth millions. Left it to you and they stole it. Sarah documents everything. This changes our entire case. We're not talking about hundreds of thousands anymore. The theft totals in the millions. The IRS will be very interested in how they reported this income. They probably didn't, Jennifer speculates. Corporate tax returns show the company paying taxes, but I bet personal returns don't reflect their full income. Add tax evasion to the charges. We spend hours cataloging evidence. Employee records show a staff of 12 all believing they work for my parents. Contracts with major retailers carrying Morrison Imports products I've never heard of. Banking relationships spanning decades. I need air, I finally say, overwhelmed. Outside, the drizzle has become rain. I stand in it, letting the cold water ground me in reality. My entire adult life has been shaped by lies about family poverty, while they ran a multi-million-dollar operation I actually owned. Sarah joins me, umbrella in hand. You okay? They had me living in poverty while stealing millions from my own company. I laugh, but it sounds hollow. I ate ramen for months to send them money while they drew executive salaries from my business. Now you know, she says simply, and in 7 weeks you'll control it all. The question is, what will you do with it? Before I can answer, Marcus signals urgently from the parking lot. A van has pulled up, several men getting out despite the rain. They don't look like they're here for legitimate business. Inside now, Marcus orders, hand on his weapon. We retreat into the building, Jennifer locking doors behind us. Through security cameras, we watch the men circle the building, testing entrances, clearly searching for something or someone. Tyler's creditors, I guess. Probable, Sausen. Marcus confirms, already calling for backup. They might know he worked here, think there's money hidden. Sarah adds, or they know you own it and want to send a message. We watch tensely as police arrive, the men scattering before officers can approach. One leaves something on the doorstep, a manila envelope that bomb squad will have to clear before we can retrieve it. This is escalating, Marcus observes. They're getting bolder. 2 hours later, after the building's been cleared and the envelope deemed safe, we see what they left. Photos of me entering my apartment, at the grocery store, at the bank. Surveillance showing they've been watching. A note, $300K by Sunday or we come collecting. Family debts are family problems. They're trying to intimidate you into paying Tyler's debts. Sarah states the obvious. This is witness tampering on top of everything else. Detective Martinez arrives with federal agents taking the evidence and surveillance footage. We're close to arrests on the gambling ring. Your brother's cooperation is helping, but these guys don't go down easy. What do you recommend? I ask. Vary your routines. Increase security. Don't go anywhere alone. She pauses. And consider temporary relocation. You're too exposed at your apartment. Sarah agrees. My firm has a corporate safe house for witnesses in financial crimes cases. Full security, untraceable location. You could work on the case without constantly looking over your shoulder. The idea of being driven from my home by my brother's gambling debts adds insult to endless injury. But pragmatism wins over pride. Fine, I agree. But first we finish documenting this place. We work until evening, Jennifer discovering more financial crimes with each filing cabinet. The legitimate business my grandmother built has been twisted into a vehicle for fraud, tax evasion, and money laundering. Final tally, Jennifer announces as we prepare to leave. Your parents and Tyler have stolen approximately $4.7 million over 15 years through salary, false dividends, embezzlement, and fraudulent management fees. That's not counting the trust theft. $4.7 million, I repeat numbly. While I couldn't afford health insurance, Daniel calls from Singapore as we're leaving, having heard about our discovery. I knew they were hiding something, but not this scale. Lena, I'm so sorry. I should have investigated harder. You protected what you could, I assure him. Without you maintaining the Singapore operations, they'd have stolen that too. When you take control, we'll merge operations properly, he promises. Full transparency, ethical practices, everything your grandmother intended. This company can be great again under its rightful owner. As Marcus escorts me to the safe house, I think about the building we're leaving behind. A monument to greed and deception, but also to my grandmother's success. She built something valuable enough to steal strong enough to survive their theft. In 7 weeks, I'll walk into that building as its acknowledged owner. I'll sit at her desk, honor her vision, run the company with integrity they abandoned. The safe house is a modest townhouse in a quiet suburb, unremarkable except for subtle security measures. Inside, it's comfortable but impersonal. Sarah helps me settle in while Marcus coordinates with the security team. This is temporary, Sarah reminds me. Once the immediate threats are handled, you'll reclaim your life. Which life? I ask. The one where I was a struggling consultant sending money to lying parents, or the one where I'm secretly a millionaire who owns a company I've never run? The one where you're a survivor, she says firmly, who exposed massive fraud, stood up to criminals, and refused to be victimized further. That's who you are now. As night falls in my temporary refuge, I video call Emma, who's safe with her aunt and Patricia, preparing to return to Singapore. My real family, the ones who stood by truth rather than participating in lies. Tomorrow brings more revelations, more legal proceedings, more threats from Tyler's creditors. But tonight I sit with my laptop studying the company that's been mine all along. Learning the business my grandmother built, my parents stole, and I'll soon reclaim. 4.7 million stolen, a multi-million-dollar company hidden, trust funds looted, identity destroyed. But I'm still standing, still fighting, still determined to honor my grandmother's true legacy rather than the corrupted version my parents created. 7 weeks until I take control. 7 weeks to prepare for running a company I just discovered I own. 7 weeks to stay safe from those who want Tyler's debts paid in blood or money. The revelation of Morrison Imports' true structure changes everything. I'm not just a fraud victim anymore. I'm a business owner whose executives happen to be the criminals who raised me. And in 7 weeks, their termination will be the first order of business. Saturday morning in the safe house begins with unexpected visitors. Margaret Chen arrives with her personal attorney and Richard Henderson, CEO of Henderson Industries. Their presence in my temporary refuge signals something significant. Lena Margaret begins settling into the living room that's become my makeshift office. Richard and I have been discussing the situation with Tyler's corporate espionage. We have a proposition. Richard Henderson, a man who built his logistics empire from a single truck, leans forward. Your documentation exposed something larger than your brother's sabotage. Morrison Tech has been systematically stealing intellectual property from multiple partners. Tyler was just the most brazen. We want to partner with you, Margaret states directly. When you take control of Morrison Imports, we're proposing a 3-way venture. Your import infrastructure, our consulting expertise, Henderson's distribution network. Sarah, who's been reviewing contracts all morning, looks up with interest. That's a multi-million-dollar proposal. Conservative estimate $50 million in revenue within 3 years. Richard confirms. But more importantly, it gives Lena immediate legitimacy when she takes control. No one questions a CEO who walks in with major partners already committed. I'm still processing when my phone rings. It's Judge Harrison's office, Patricia's attorney from Singapore, on the line. Ms. Morrison, good news. The emergency injunction was granted. Robert Steinberg has been removed as trustee effective immediately. Assets are frozen pending transfer to independent fiduciary. So I have access to the trust. I ask, heart racing. Not yet, the attorney clarifies, but neither does anyone else. The court appointed Whitman Trust Services as temporary administrator. They'll maintain assets until your birthday transfer. Steinberg's fighting it, but the evidence of breach is overwhelming. After hanging up, I share the news with the group. Margaret smiles, a predator recognizing wounded prey. Steinberg's desperate. Desperate people make mistakes. She turns to her attorney. What would it take to accelerate the trust transfer? Proof of immediate need or danger to assets. The lawyer responds. Given the creditor threats and evidence tampering, we might argue emergency circumstances. Sarah's already pulling up legal precedents on her laptop. There's case law supporting early distribution when trustees have breached duty and beneficiaries face danger. Worth attempting. As they strategize legal maneuvers, Emma texts from her aunt's house. Mom's at the old house. Found her crying in Dad's office. She wants to talk to you. Says she has information about the gambling debts. I show Sarah, who immediately objects. It could be a trap. Madison's been complicit until now. Or she's finally seeing the truth. I counter. She just learned Tyler stole her grandmother's jewelry and secretly insured her life. Maybe she's ready to help. After much debate, we arrange a meeting at Sarah's law office, neutral territory, with security present. Madison arrives looking nothing like the polished woman who sneered at me on Thanksgiving. Her designer clothes are wrinkled makeup, absent eyes hollow with betrayal. Lena, she begins, then stops seemingly at loss. I owe you an apology. Several, actually. I was horrible. You were I agree, not ready to offer easy absolution. I found something. She continues, pulling out a tablet. Tyler's real books, not the sanitized versions he showed me, but the actual records of what he owes and to whom. Sarah and I exchange glances as Madison opens encrypted files. The numbers are staggering. $300,000 to Sal's organization, another $200,000 to a group called Northside Capital, $50,000 to someone listed only as The Hammer. Total debt $780,000, Madison summarizes. With interest compounding daily, he owes more than our house is worth. Why show me this, I ask? Because they've threatened our children, she says quietly. Notes at Benjamin's preschool. Emma followed home from school. They want their money and they don't care who they hurt. Sarah's already calling Detective Martinez with this new information. I study Madison, seeing fear crack through her entitled facade. There's more, Madison continues. The 24/7 gym Tyler claimed to visit. It's a gambling front. High-stakes poker in the back rooms. He lost $50,000 there last month alone. She shows photos from Tyler's phone, synchronized to her cloud without his knowledge. Images of him at gaming tables with dangerous-looking men, signing markers he could never cover. I was willfully blind, Madison admits. The lifestyle, the money, I didn't want to know where it came from. But I won't let my children pay for our greed. Margaret, who's been quietly observing, speaks up. Madison, would you testify about Tyler's gambling connections? It would help the federal case. Yes, Madison answers without hesitation. I've already given everything to my divorce attorney. Tyler won't have anything left to bargain with. Over the next 2 hours, Madison provides detailed information about Tyler's double life. The gambling addiction that started small but escalated after he burned through his trust fund. The increasingly dangerous creditors he turned to. The lies that kept expanding to cover previous lies. He was planning to run, she reveals. Costa Rica first, then somewhere without extradition. The ticket you caught him with. There were 3 more. For me and the kids. He was going to make us fugitives. Did my parents know, I ask? About the gambling, yes. They gave him money several times to cover debts, always from what you sent them, never their own funds. She pauses. They enabled him while lecturing me about supporting my husband. Sarah documents everything while Margaret's attorney drafts agreements for Madison's cooperation. The woman who mocked me for working hard is now providing evidence to convict her husband. I need protection for my children, Madison states. Emma and Benjamin don't deserve this. We'll arrange it. Detective Martinez confirms having arrived during Madison's revelations. Federal witness protection if necessary. These creditors don't play games. As Madison leaves with federal agents, Emma texts again. Aunt Sarah, I found something in Dad's car, hidden in the spare tire well, thumb drives and a notebook. Should I tell the FBI? Tell her to give everything to the agents with her mother, Sarah instructs. Don't touch anything else. An hour later, the FBI calls with the contents of Tyler's hidden stash. The thumb drives contain detailed records of every bet, every loss, every desperate loan. The notebook lists passwords to accounts we didn't know existed. Your brother was documenting everything, Agent Chen explains over video call, either for insurance or because addicts often compulsively record their destruction. This evidence is golden for our RICO case. Janet Morrison. My forensic accountant has been building financial models on her laptop. Based on everything we've discovered, your net worth, once the trust transfers and company control is established, will be approximately $8.3 million. That's conservative, not counting potential growth or the partnership proposals. The number seems surreal. This morning I woke up in a safe house hiding from creditors. In 7 weeks, I'll control millions. The cognitive dissonance makes my head spin. We need to accelerate the timeline, Margaret declares. Every day that passes gives them more opportunity to hide assets or destroy evidence. Richard, if we announce our partnership now, it might pressure the court to expedite. Richard nods. Public pressure can be useful. Major companies partnering with Lena sends a message that she's the legitimate heir, not the unstable person her family portrayed. Sarah drafts press releases while Margaret and Richard's teams coordinate. Within hours, business reporters have the story major partnership announced pending Morrison Imports leadership transition. My phone explodes with notifications, LinkedIn messages from colleagues expressing support, former clients interested in working with my new company, industry publications requesting interviews. "You're trending," Emma observes via text, sending screenshots of business news sites. CEO magazine wants an exclusive on the millionaire who didn't know. Patricia calls from the airport about to board her flight to Singapore. Daniel saw the news. The Asian partners are excited about legitimate U.S. operations. Stock up on coffee. You'll be getting calls from Singapore at odd hours. As evening approaches, the safe house feels less like hiding and more like a war room. Sarah fields legal calls, Margaret coordinates business strategy, and Richard's team runs distribution projections. "This morning you were a fraud victim," Sarah observes. "Tonight you're an emerging business leader with major partners. Quite a transformation." I'm still processing, I admit. Part of me wants to just take the money and disappear. Let someone else run the company. "You could," Margaret acknowledges, "but that's not who you are. You fought for truth and justice. Running Morrison Imports ethically successfully is the ultimate vindication." She's right. Taking my grandmother's company back, running it with integrity, succeeding where my parents failed morally, that's better than any revenge. Tyler's creditors make another appearance, this time at Madison's sister's house. Security footage shows men photographing license plates, noting routines. The threat escalates despite federal attention. "We need to cut this off at the source," Detective Martinez states during an emergency call. Tyler's cooperation isn't enough if his creditors think you're the payment plan. "What do you suggest?" I ask. "A meeting. Controlled circumstances. Make it clear the well is dry, that federal attention makes you untouchable. Sometimes facing threats directly diffuses them." Sarah strongly objects, but Richard offers unexpected support. "I've dealt with unsavory elements in building my business. Sometimes showing strength prevents worse confrontations." After heated debate, a plan emerges. Federal agents will arrange a meeting with Sal's representative. I'll attend with massive security, making clear that Tyler's debts die with his freedom. No family obligation exists, and pursuing me brings only federal prosecution. "It's risky," Marcus admits, "but continuing to hide while they escalate is riskier." The meeting is set for Monday. In the meantime, more allies emerge. Janet discovers that several employees at Morrison Imports' U.S. operation want to testify about my parents' mismanagement. Suppliers offer evidence of delayed payments, while my parents drew bonuses. "Your grandmother built relationships," Patricia explains during our final call before her flight. "Those people remember her integrity. They want to see it restored." Sunday brings unexpected visitors. Aunt Patricia, the one who sided with my mother, arrives at the safe house with her husband Robert. Sarah almost turns them away, but something in Patricia's expression stops me. "We were wrong," Patricia says simply. "We believed Dorothy's lies, sided with family over truth. But seeing the evidence, the arrests, the company theft, we were blind." Robert adds, "We want to help. Testify, provide character witnesses, whatever's needed. Family should mean more than enabling criminals." Their apology feels genuine, though I'm wary of deathbed conversions. Sarah documents their offer, adding them to the growing list of witnesses. "Mom's in isolation at the jail," Patricia reveals. No visitors after she tried to have another inmate contact Tyler's creditors. She's still scheming, even facing decades in prison. The news doesn't surprise me. My mother's manipulations are reflexive like breathing. Even consequences can't stop her nature. As Sunday night arrives, I video call Emma and Madison. They're in protective custody, safe but displaced. Benjamin doesn't understand why they can't go home. Emma tries to stay strong for her little brother. "This is temporary," I promise Emma. "Once the legal issues resolve, we'll make sure you have stability." "Can I work for Morrison Imports when I'm older?" she asks. "I want to learn business from someone ethical." "Absolutely," I confirm. "In fact, we'll start your education early. Internships, mentoring, whatever you want." After hanging up, I sit in the quiet safe house reflecting on the week's transformation. From family pariah to business leader, from victim to victor, from isolation to alliance. Tomorrow I face Tyler's creditors backed by federal agents and business partners. Tuesday, the court hearing on expediting trust transfer. By week's end, I might control millions, and a company I'm still learning existed. Ready for tomorrow? Sarah asks, finalizing security arrangements. No, I answer honestly, but I'll do it anyway. My grandmother faced bigger challenges building the company. I can face criminals trying to steal from it. She smiles. That's the spirit. Channel Eleanor Morrison's strength. She'd be proud of what you're doing. Looking at my grandmother's photo on my laptop, I believe that's true. She built something worth stealing, but also worth saving. In 7 weeks or sooner, I'll honor that legacy. The alliance forming around me, friends, ethical business partners, law enforcement, even reformed family members, proves what grandmother always said. Real family isn't about blood. It's about standing together when truth matters most. Tomorrow, I stop running from Tyler's shadows. Time to step into the light my grandmother left for me, even if criminals try to dim it. Monday morning's meeting with Sal's representative takes place in a federal building's secured conference room. I'm surrounded by FBI agent Sarah at my right side, Marcus positioned strategically behind me. Across the table sits Vincent Vinny Torino, wearing an expensive suit that can't hide the danger beneath. Ms. Morrison. He begins, voice smooth like oil over gravel. We have a problem. Your brother owes significant debts. In our world, family obligations extend beyond individual responsibility. In the legal world, Sarah interjects, they don't. Tyler Morrison's debts are his alone. Vinny's smile doesn't reach his eyes. Legal worlds and real worlds don't always align. $780,000 plus interest. Someone pays. Agent Chen leans forward. Mr. Torino, you're being recorded. Any threats against Ms. Morrison will result in immediate federal charges. No threats. Vinny raises manicured hands. Just explaining business realities. Tyler promised payment from family resources, made guarantees based on inherited wealth. Stolen inherited wealth, I correct. Currently frozen by federal investigation. Even if I wanted to pay, which I don't, the money's inaccessible. Vinny studies me with reptilian calculation. You're about to inherit millions. Surely family peace is worth a small percentage. The only percentage you'll get is the federal prison time for extortion. Sarah states flatly, Ms. Morrison has no legal or moral obligation to cover gambling debts incurred through fraud. For 30 tense minutes, we dance this dangerous ballet. Vinny implies consequences without direct threats. We reference federal protection without backing down. Finally, Agent Chen plays our trump card. Mr. Torino, we're prepared to offer your organization a deal. Full immunity for testimony against Tyler Morrison and his gambling network. Or continue pursuing Ms. Morrison and face RICO charges that will destroy your entire operation. Vinny's composure cracks slightly. You're offering us a deal to flip on a debtor. We're offering you a lifeline, Agent Chen clarifies. Tyler's been documenting every transaction. We have enough to prosecute everyone he's dealt with. Cooperate and walk away clean. Persist in threatening Ms. Morrison and lose everything. The calculation in Vinny's eyes shifts. Criminals understand self-preservation above loyalty. I'll need to consult with my associates. You have 48 hours. Agent Chen slides a card across the table. After that, arrest warrants issue. Choose wisely. After Vinny leaves, I finally breathe properly. Will they take the deal? Probably, Agent Chen admits. Testifying against Tyler costs them nothing. Pursuing you risks everything. Math favors cooperation. By afternoon, the morning's drama seems almost quaint compared to what unfolds next. A reporter from the Indianapolis Star investigative journalist, Maria Rodriguez, publishes an expose that shakes the city's business community. $1 million fraud. The Morrison family's web of deception sprawls across the front page, online editions, and social media. Maria interviewed dozens of sources painting a devastating picture of systematic theft spanning decades. Sarah reads excerpts aloud in the safe house. What emerges is a portrait of unfathomable greed. While daughter Lena Morrison supported what she believed were struggling parents, they lived lavishly off her stolen inheritance, operated her company without her knowledge, and attempted to destroy her career when she threatened their scheme. My phone explodes with notifications. Former clients expressing shock and support, industry colleagues offering assistance, complete strangers sharing their own stories of family financial abuse. "You've become a symbol," Margaret observes, scrolling through social media responses. "People relate to family betrayal even if not at this scale." Then comes the interview request that changes everything. 60 Minutes wants an exclusive. The producer promises fair coverage focusing on financial abuse awareness rather than sensationalism. "This could help," Sarah muses. "Public opinion matters for jury pools. Humanizing you counters your family's victim narrative." After much debate, I agree. The interview will tape Thursday, air Sunday. My first public statement beyond legal documents. Tuesday's emergency court hearing on expediting the trust transfer takes place in a packed courtroom. Media attention has made me unwillingly famous the millionaire fraud victim as headlines scream. Robert Steinberg appears in shackles, his attorney arguing against asset freeze. My client has served this family faithfully for decades. These allegations are misunderstandings blown out of proportion by a disgruntled beneficiary. Judge Catherine Warner, known for her no-nonsense approach to financial crimes, reviews evidence with sharp attention. Patricia testifies via video link from Singapore, detailing attempts to protect the trust. Daniel provides company records showing profitable operations hidden from me. Then comes the most damaging testimony. A whistleblower from Steinberg's firm paralegal Linda Patterson reveals decades of fraudulent trust administration. Mr. Steinberg instructed us to alter documents, hide distributions, and create false reports showing trust assets depleted. She testifies voice shaking but determined. He said the beneficiary was too stupid to check, and the family deserved the money more. Gasps ripple through the courtroom. Even Steinberg's attorney looks shocked by the blatant admission. Jennifer Walsh presents forensic accounting showing millions diverted from my trust. The shell company's hidden accounts and systematic theft laid out in devastating detail. Your Honor. Sarah stands for closing arguments. Every day that passes allows further asset dissipation. Ms. Morrison faces credible threats from her brother's associates who believe she has access to funds. Expediting transfer isn't just financially prudent, it's necessary for her safety. The opposition argues procedural concerns, traditional waiting periods, and bureaucratic necessities. But public attention weighs heavily. Reporters fill the gallery live tweeting proceedings. Judge Warner deliberates for only an hour. The court finds extraordinary circumstances warranting expedited action. The systematic breach of fiduciary duty combined with credible threats to the beneficiary necessitate immediate intervention. She orders trust assets transferred within 10 days, not 7 weeks. Steinberg's assets frozen pending criminal trial. Independent auditors appointed to unravel the full scope of theft. Ms. Morrison. Judge Warner addresses me directly. This court apologizes that legal systems meant to protect you were corrupted for personal gain. While we cannot undo past harm, we can ensure future justice. Leaving court through a media gauntlet, I'm peppered with questions. Sarah shields me, but one reporter's question penetrates. How does it feel to finally have the truth exposed? I pause, considering. Overwhelming. But my grandmother always said truth has its own power. I'm grateful she was right. That soundbite leads evening news, followed by analysis of family fraud, fiduciary duty, and financial abuse. Legal experts debate precedents. Financial advisors discuss protecting inheritance. Psychologists examine family betrayal trauma. You've started a national conversation. Emma texts sending links to trending hashtags. Justice for Lena and Nastani family fraud awareness gain momentum. Wednesday brings unexpected consequences from publicity. Morrison Imports phones ring constantly with orders. Customers want to support a company returning to ethical management. Suppliers offer improved terms in solidarity. Sales are up 40% since yesterday. Daniel reports from Singapore. Americans love an underdog story. You're the heiress who didn't know she was rich fighting the family who stole from her. It's marketing we couldn't buy. But visibility brings danger too. Death threats arrive at Sarah's office. Not from Tyler's creditors, but from stranger criminals who see opportunity in high-profile wealth. Security increases again. This is why victims often stay quiet. Detective Martinez observes reviewing threats. Going public paints a target, but you're handling it well. Tyler's situation deteriorates rapidly. Madison's evidence combined with his hidden records creates an airtight case. His lawyer requests a meeting hoping to negotiate a plea deal. He's willing to testify against your parents and Steinberg, the lawyer offers. Full cooperation in exchange for reduced sentence. How reduced? Sarah asks skeptically. 5 to 7 instead of 20 to 30. We consider it. Tyler's testimony would guarantee convictions, but it feels like letting him escape full accountability. Counter offer. Sarah responds. 8 to 12 minimum security with mandatory gambling addiction treatment, and he forfeits all claims to Morrison Imports or family trusts. They'll consider it. Tyler's running out of options as more evidence mounts. The gambling syndicate officially flips, providing documentation of his debts and promising testimony. Thursday's 60 Minutes taping takes place at Morrison Imports headquarters. I sit in my grandmother's office, her photo visible behind me, telling the story to veteran journalist Anderson Cooper. Your parents raised you to value family above everything, he observes. How do you reconcile that with sending them to prison? They taught me words about family loyalty while demonstrating betrayal. I answer. Real family doesn't systematically destroy your life for personal gain. I'm not sending them anywhere their choices created consequences. We discuss the fraud scope, the inheritance theft, the corporate sabotage. Anderson's prepared asking pointed but fair questions. The interview will be edited, but the raw emotion probably shows. What would you tell other victims of family financial abuse? He asks. Document everything, trust your instincts, and remember you don't owe anyone your destruction regardless of shared DNA. Love shouldn't cost your future. After taping, Anderson privately shares his own family struggles with financial boundaries. Even successful people face these challenges. The universality of family money conflicts surprises me. Friday arrives with my parents' latest legal maneuvering. They've hired new attorneys claiming ineffective counsel. These lawyers, known for defending white-collar criminals, immediately file motions challenging evidence. Standard delay tactics, Sarah dismisses. They're hoping media attention dies down before trial. It won't work. What does work is public opinion's continued shift. My parents' church publicly distances itself from them. Their country club revokes membership. Former friends give interviews expressing shock at the deception's scope. They're becoming pariahs, Aunt Patricia observes during a call. Dorothy called me from jail screaming about ungrateful friends abandoning her. She genuinely doesn't understand why people are disgusted. The narcissism runs so deep she can't comprehend consequences. In her mind, she's still the victim of an ungrateful daughter who wouldn't quietly accept theft. As the week ends, I prepare for Sunday's television appearance and Monday's trust transfer. In 10 days, I've gone from anonymous fraud victim to nationally recognized survivor. The exposure feels vulnerable, but necessary. Ready for what comes next? Sarah asks Friday evening. Taking control of an $8 million company while testifying against my family, sure, completely prepared, I say sarcastically. She laughs. At least you haven't lost your sense of humor. It's that or cry, I admit, sometimes both. Sunday night, I'll watch myself tell America about family betrayal. Monday morning, I'll walk into Morrison Imports as its acknowledged owner. 2 events that seemed impossible just weeks ago. My phone buzzes with a text from Emma. Watching you stand up to them gives me strength. Benjamin and I are proud of you, Aunt Lena. Show the world what real family means. That's worth more than any inheritance. A 16-year-old's courage, a 4-year-old's trust, and the knowledge that breaking cycles of abuse helps others find their own strength. The public exposure continues, but I'm no longer hiding. Let them see what family fraud really costs. Let them understand that justice sometimes requires exposing those who share your name, but not your values. Sunday's approaching. America will meet the millionaire who didn't know she was rich, who chose truth over blood, who refused to let family destroy her future. I hope my grandmother would be proud. More importantly, I hope other victims see possibility in my story. Family shouldn't be a weapon. Love shouldn't be conditional on compliance. And sometimes the most loving act is saying, no more. The exposure feels like standing naked in a spotlight. But maybe that's what healing requires: brutal honesty in public spaces, refusing to hide family shame and showing others they're not alone. Sunday can't come soon enough, or maybe Monday when I finally claim what was always mine. Monday morning arrives with the kind of crisp clarity that makes everything feel more real. I stand outside Morrison Imports at 7 a.m. key in hand, surrounded by Sarah Margaret Chen and a small army of security and supporters. Local news crews capture the moment as I unlock the door to my own company for the first time as its acknowledged owner. How does it feel? A reporter calls out. Like coming home to a place I've never been, I answer honestly. Inside, 12 employees wait nervously. They've worked here throughout my parents' deception, believing they answered to the people who stole from me. Some look guilty, others hopeful, all uncertain about their futures. I know this is awkward. I address them in the conference room. You were lied to, just as I was. Your jobs are safe. In fact, I intend to expand operations and hire more staff. Morrison Imports will be what my grandmother envisioned: ethical, profitable, and a source of pride for everyone involved. Janet Sullivan, who's been office manager for 8 years, steps forward. Ms. Morrison, we want to show you something. She leads me to a storage room I hadn't noticed during our investigation. Inside, boxes of my grandmother's original business documents, photographs, and even her first inventory ledgers. Your parents ordered us to destroy these, Janet explains, but it felt wrong. We've been hiding them, hoping someday the right person would want them. I touch the aged papers with reverence. My grandmother's handwriting details her first imports, her business philosophy, her dreams for the company. These employees preserved her legacy despite orders to erase it. Thank you. I manage through tears. This means more than you know. The morning continues with Daniel calling from Singapore, walking me through international operations via video. Suppliers express relief at dealing with legitimate leadership. Customers place orders previously held due to payment concerns under my parents' management. At 10 o'clock, Sarah arrives with court documents. It's official. All trust assets transferred to your control as of 9 a.m. The family home investment accounts and liquid assets totaling $3.2 million. Combined with the company value, you're worth approximately $8.3 million. The number still feels surreal. This morning, I woke up in a safe house. Now I own multiple properties and run an international business. There's more, Sarah continues. Steinberg's attempting a plea bargain. He's offering full restitution of stolen fees, approximately $400,000 plus testimony against your parents. Let him squirm, I decide. He had decades to do the right thing. Partial restitution doesn't erase systematic theft. By noon, the office buzzes with activity I haven't seen before. Employees energized by honest leadership, phones ringing with new business, the company my parents treated as their personal piggy bank showing its true potential. Then Detective Martinez calls with news that shifts everything. Tyler's creditors took the FBI deal. They're providing evidence of wider gambling networks, money laundering, and political corruption. Your brother was a small fish who led us to an ocean of crimes. Is my family safe? I ask, thinking of Emma and Benjamin. Safer than before. These arrests remove the threat infrastructure. Sal's entire operation is being dismantled. Wednesday brings the trial's first major victory. Tyler accepts the plea deal, 10 years minimum security mandatory treatment, and forfeiture of all claims to family assets. His testimony will seal our parents' fate. I attend his allocution, needing to hear him admit guilt. Tyler stands in orange jumpsuit reading a prepared statement with none of his usual charm. I systematically defrauded my sister Lena Morrison through identity theft, corporate espionage, and conspiracy with our parents to steal her inheritance. I took advantage of her trust and generosity to fund gambling addiction that destroyed multiple lives. I'm guilty of all charges and accept responsibility. The words sound hollow, read rather than felt, but legal record now holds his confession. No future revision of history can erase this moment. Afterwards, Madison approaches in the courthouse hallway. He asked to see the kids. I said no. Some consequences can't be avoided with apologies. How are they? I ask. Benjamin's confused but resilient. Emma's in therapy processing everything. Your offer of future internship gives her hope. She pauses. I'm starting community college. Accounting. I want to understand money honestly, not just spend it. If you need help with tuition, I offer. No, she says firmly. I need to earn my own way, but thank you for showing me what that looks like. Thursday's 60 Minutes interview airs Sunday, but advance clips release online. The response overwhelms our servers as orders pour in. Americans love supporting businesses with stories of triumph over adversity. We need expanded warehousing, Daniel notes during our morning call. Sales projections for next quarter exceed current capacity. Good problem to have. Margaret and Richard Henderson finalize our partnership agreements. The three-way venture will launch next quarter, combining import infrastructure with consulting expertise and distribution networks. Projected revenue $50 million within 3 years. You've gone from victim to CEO of a major partnership in 3 weeks, Margaret observes. That's remarkable resilience. Desperation is a powerful motivator. I admit. When your family tries to destroy you, building something better feels like survival. Friday brings my parents' trial date announcement. February 15th, giving prosecutors time to incorporate Tyler's testimony and new evidence. They face combined sentences of 30 to 50 years, if convicted on all counts. Their new attorneys request a meeting. Against Sarah's advice, I agree. We meet in a federal conference room, my parents shackled and diminished. Orange suits age them decades beyond their years. Lena. My mother starts, then falters. Without her makeup and carefully styled hair, she looks fragile. We're sorry, we lost our way. You didn't lose your way, I respond evenly. You chose a path. Every forged document, every stolen payment, every lie required conscious decision. We're your parents, my father states, as if that explains everything. Biologically, yes, but parents protect their children. You systematically destroyed my life for money. That's not parenting. Their attorneys intervene with the real purpose. Our clients are willing to allocate blame primarily to Robert Steinberg and Tyler, in exchange for your support of reduced sentences. No, I interrupt. They orchestrated this entire scheme. Tyler learned from them. Steinberg followed their direction. I won't help them escape accountability. My mother breaks down sobbing about destroyed family, abandoned parents, ungrateful children. The manipulation is obvious now, theatrical and desperate. My father maintains stoic disappointment as if I've failed some moral test. We're done here, Sarah declares. Further communication goes through counsel. Leaving that room feels like shedding skin. The people who raised me are strangers wearing familiar faces. Whatever love existed got sold for monthly payments and stolen inheritances. Saturday brings unexpected closure from another source. The FBI raids several locations connected to Tyler's gambling network. Among those arrested 3 city councilmen, a state senator, and 2 judges. The corruption web extends far beyond family fraud. Your case broke open something huge, Agent Chen tells me. Tyler's records detailed bribes, fixed games, and money laundering through campaign contributions. You've helped expose systematic corruption. I just wanted them to stop stealing from me, I say. Most major cases start with personal grievances, she responds. Individual courage to speak up reveals larger patterns. You should be proud. Sunday evening, I gather with my chosen family to watch 60 Minutes. Emma and Madison join via video. Patricia and Daniel watch from Singapore. Margaret, Richard, and Sarah sit in my living room, having insisted I move from the safe house to a secure apartment near Morrison Imports. Anderson Cooper's introduction sets the tone. Tonight, a story of family betrayal that exposes the hidden epidemic of financial abuse. Lena Morrison discovered her parents and brother had stolen millions while she struggled to support them. Her fight for justice revealed corruption extending from family dinner tables to state capitol halls. Watching myself on screen feels surreal. The woman explaining systematic theft with calm precision doesn't match my internal image. She looks strong, professional, credible, not like someone whose family destroyed her life. You did amazing, Emma says when it ends. Mom cried. Good tears, though, proud tears. The response is immediate and overwhelming. Social media explodes with support. Other victims share their stories. Financial abuse hotlines report record calls. My inbox fills with interview requests, speaking engagements, and book deal offers. You've started something, Sarah observes. This conversation needed to happen. As the week ends, I sit in my grandmother's office, now truly mine. The company runs better than ever. The partnership promises explosive growth. The legal victories pile up as conspirators scramble for plea deals. But the real victory is smaller, quieter. I'm sleeping without nightmares, eating without anxiety, making decisions based on my future rather than their manipulation. My phone rings with an unknown number. I almost don't answer, but something makes me pick up. Ms. Morrison. This is Diane Walsh from the National Financial Abuse Prevention Foundation. We'd like to offer you a board position. Your story and platform could help thousands of victims find their voices. I accept immediately. If my pain can prevent others suffering, perhaps some good emerges from this nightmare. Looking at my grandmother's photo, I think she'd approve, not just of reclaiming the company or exposing the theft, but of using the platform for purpose, building something better from betrayal's ashes. The legal victory feels complete. Tyler imprisoned, parents facing trial, Steinberg disbarred and charged, gambling network dismantled, corruption exposed. But the personal victory matters more. I survived their worst efforts, built alliances with people who value truth over blood, created a future they tried to steal. Tomorrow brings new challenges, running a company, testifying at trials, building the partnership, speaking for victims who haven't found their voices yet. But tonight I celebrate quietly with the family I chose, the ones who stood by truth when lies were easier, who saw strength where others saw vulnerability, who helped me discover that sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's living well, honestly, successfully. It's becoming everything they said. I couldn't be using resources they tried to steal, surrounded by people who actually understand love. The legal victory is public record, but this personal triumph, this belongs to everyone who refuses to let family destroy their future. My grandmother was right. Family isn't about blood. It's about who shows up when truth matters most. And as I look around my apartment at these faces, chosen family, real family, I know I'm finally home. Tuesday morning brings news that shakes the foundation of everything I thought I knew about my family. Detective Martinez calls before dawn, her voice carefully controlled. Lena, we need you to come to the station. We've discovered something during the investigation that it's significant. I arrived to find FBI agents Detective Martinez and Sarah waiting with expressions that make my stomach drop. In reviewing your parents' financial records, we found payments to a private investigator starting 35 years ago. Agent Chen begins. We tracked down the PI. He kept meticulous records. She slides a folder across the table. Inside, photographs of a woman with 2 young children. The woman looks familiar, but I can't place her. "That's your father's first family," Detective Martinez says gently. "He was married before, had 2 children. He abandoned them when the boy was 3 and the girl was 5. The room tilts. I grip the table for stability. "What?" "He never divorced his first wife legally," Agent Chen continues. "Your parents' marriage is technically invalid, which means their claim to any marital assets is compromised," Sarah finishes. "But more importantly, you have siblings who were also abandoned by your father." I stare at the photographs. A boy who looks like Tyler, a girl with my eyes. Where are they now? Michael Patterson is 38 Lives in Phoenix, runs a construction company. Sarah Patterson Wells is 36, a teacher in Tucson. They've known about you and Tyler their whole lives. Their mother made sure they knew they had half-siblings. But we never knew about them. The betrayal feels fresh, different. My entire life is built on lies. "There's more," Detective Martinez says apologetically. "Your mother knew. The private investigator reports show she hired him to keep tabs on the first family, make sure they never contacted you." I excuse myself to the bathroom where I promptly vomit. The layers of deception seem infinite. Every time I think I've hit bottom, a new trapdoor opens. When I return, Sarah's reviewing additional documents. "Michael and Sarah have agreed to speak with you if you want. They're victims too, abandoned by your father, monitored by your mother. They never received child support, never had contact. I want to meet them." I decide immediately. They're my family, real family he threw away. We arrange a video call for that afternoon. I spend the hours between pacing my office trying to process this revelation. My employees notice my distraction but respectfully give space. At 2 o'clock, I connect to the call. 2 faces appear on screen, nervous but curious. Michael has our father's bone structure but warmer eyes. Sarah, the irony of sharing names doesn't escape me, has our grandmother's chin, the same one I see in my mirror. "This is awkward," Michael says, first breaking tension with directness I appreciate. "Understatement of the century." I agree. "I just found out you exist 4 hours ago." "We've known about you forever," the other Sarah admits. "Mom made sure we knew we had siblings in case we ever needed medical history or, I don't know, she hoped maybe someday we'd connect." "Is she—" I can't finish the question. "Alive and well," Michael confirms. "Remarried to a good man who actually raised us. She's in assisted living now, early dementia, but she has good days." We talk for 2 hours. About their lives, their struggles growing up without child support, their mother working 3 jobs, about watching from afar as our father built a new family, lavished resources on Tyler and me, while ignoring their existence. "We weren't angry at you," Sarah clarifies. "You were kids too, but him building that business pretending to be father of the year while we ate ramen every night. Yeah, we have feelings about that. The business he built with my stolen inheritance," I say bitterly. "At least we're all victims of his greed." Michael leans forward. "When we saw the news about the fraud, part of us felt vindicated, like karma finally caught up. But we also felt bad for you. Finding out your whole life is a lie. We at least always knew the truth." "What do you want from this?" I ask directly. "I have resources now. I can help." "We don't want money," Sarah interrupts firmly. "We made our own lives without him. But maybe we could know each other. We're the only siblings any of us have who aren't criminals. Tyler has no idea you exist," I realize. "This will destroy his worldview more than prison." "Good," Michael says flatly. "Let him know how it feels to discover your father's capable of erasing children." We agree to meet in person next month after the chaos settles. They share photos of their families. Michael has 3 kids. Sarah has twins. I have 5 nieces and nephews I never knew existed. After the call, I sit in stunned silence. My family tree just doubled with branches bearing better fruit than the rotten ones I've been pruning. Sarah, my lawyer, processes the legal implications. This affects your parents' trial. Bigamy, abandonment, more fraud. The prosecutor will have a field day. I don't care about that right now, I admit. I have a brother who isn't Tyler, a sister who seems genuinely kind, nieces and nephews who might actually be safe to love. Wednesday, I inform Tyler during what will be our last conversation. He's called from prison, hoping to manipulate more favorable testimony from me. Instead, I deliver truth. We have siblings, I state without preamble. Dad was married before, had 2 kids, abandoned them to marry Mom illegally. The silence stretches so long, I wonder if we've disconnected. You're lying, he finally manages. This is some trick. Michael's 38. Sarah's 36. They look like us, Tyler. Dad paid a private investigator to keep them away our entire lives. Mom knew, they both knew, and built our family on lies about being each other's first loves. No, his voice cracks. We're the family, we're the replacement family, I correct. Built on bigamy and abandoned children. Just like everything else, it's fraud. He hangs up. I hear later from Madison that he had a breakdown requiring psychiatric intervention. His worldview, built on being the golden son of a perfect family, couldn't survive the truth. My mother's reaction comes through her lawyer. She wants to meet claims she can explain. Against everyone's advice, I agree, but only with attorneys present. She enters the federal meeting room looking decades older. The orange jumpsuit hangs on her diminished frame, but her eyes still calculate, still scheme. Those children weren't real family, she begins immediately. That woman trapped your father. We gave you and Tyler legitimate lives. Legitimate? I laugh harshly. Nothing about our lives was legitimate. You knew he had children and helped him abandon them. Then you stole from the children you did raise. What part of that is legitimate? We protected you from scandal, she insists. Imagine growing up knowing your father had another family. Instead, I grew up in a lie that exploded spectacularly. Much better, I say sarcastically. She tries emotional manipulation, tears, maternal guilt, but I see through it now. Every expression calculated, every word chosen for effect. The mother I thought I knew never existed, just this stranger wearing her face. I want their contact information, I state. Michael and Sarah, you monitored them for 35 years. I want to know everything. I'd burn those files, she says quickly, too quickly. Sarah leans forward. Destroying evidence in a federal investigation adds 5 years. Want to reconsider? My mother's mask finally drops completely. The loving mother, the victim, the martyr, all pretense falls away, leaving naked calculation. Fine, she spits. Your father couldn't let go, kept tabs on his precious first children. The files are in a safety deposit box at First National, box 247, keys hidden in his home office inside the false bottom of his Navy medal case. Even now, even caught, she'd hidden evidence. I wonder how many other secrets wait in hidden boxes and false bottoms. We're done, I tell her. Don't contact me again. I'm your mother, she screams as guards escort her out. You owe me forgiveness. Family forgives. But she's wrong. She's just the woman who gave birth to me, then spent 32 years stealing my life. Mother is a title earned through love and protection, not biology and manipulation. Thursday brings the safety deposit box revelation. Inside 35 years of surveillance on my half-siblings, report cards, school photos, job applications, marriage certificates. My parents stalked these children they'd help abandon, maintaining files like some sick hobby. This is disturbing. Agent Chen observes, cataloging evidence. They tracked every milestone, every achievement, almost like they were comparing I finish, making sure the children they kept were more successful than the ones they threw away. One file makes me pause. A letter from teenage Sarah to our father begging for help with college tuition. His response typed on business letterhead, I have no daughter named Sarah. Do not contact me again. I have to leave the room overwhelmed by cruelty I can't comprehend. He denied his daughter's existence while stealing mine to fund Tyler's education. Madison calls that evening. I heard about the siblings. Emma wants to know if she has cousins now. 5, I confirm. Good kids with parents who didn't abandon them. Can we meet them? Emma asks, having taken the phone. I'd like family who aren't criminals. We're working on it, I promise. Friday culminates in a family reckoning none of us expected. Michael and Sarah fly in for an emergency meeting. They've decided they want to testify at our parents' trial. He destroyed our mother, Michael states firmly. She never recovered from the abandonment. We want it on record what he did to his first family before he defrauded his second. It could get ugly, Sarah lawyer warns. Defense will attack your motives, claim you're after money. We've been attacked our whole lives by his absence, Sarah's sister responds. What's one more time? Besides, Lena deserves support from family who actually understands the word. As we strategize their testimony, I marvel at the unexpected bonds forming. These siblings I never knew existed show more loyalty in days than Tyler showed in decades. Their children video call shy but excited about new cousins. Emma promises to visit during spring break. This is weird, Michael admits over dinner, but good weird. We always wondered what you were like, if you were happy, if he was a better father to you. He was a terrible father to us too, I assure him, just differently terrible. At least we're all free now, Sarah observes, free to be the family he never let us be. Looking around the table at these unexpected siblings at Emma on video wearing a hopeful smile at chosen family like my Sarah, offering support, I realize the truth. My parents didn't destroy my family. They prevented me from knowing my real one. Now with their crimes exposed and consequences closing in, we're finding each other, building relationships on truth rather than lies, creating bonds from shared survival rather than manufactured perfection. The family reckoning isn't just about justice for crimes committed. It's about discovering family that was hidden, connections that were severed, and love that survived despite abandonment. My father stole from all his children in different ways. My mother helped him hide his crimes while committing her own. But their failure is our freedom. Freedom to know each other. Freedom to heal. Freedom to be the family they never allowed. Tomorrow we continue building. Morrison Imports needs leadership. Trials need testimony. New siblings need time to trust. But tonight we share a meal and swap stories, finding humor in the absurdity and hope in the honesty. The family reckoning reveals more than crimes. It reveals resilience, courage, and the possibility of connection beyond blood and betrayal. My grandmother would have loved this. Children finding each other despite parents' worst efforts. Truth winning over carefully constructed lies. Family meaning more than shared DNA or stolen money. The reckoning continues, but we face it together. The family my parents fractured is becoming whole in ways they never imagined, and that's the best justice of all.